did a revised agenda. Just to include a couple of appointments that were missed.
Okay.
So that
Is it posted yet?
Yeah, it's posted online. It's on your.
Well, I just loaded it because I didn't do it at home, so I just loaded it.
Okay.
So is it updated now?
Yeah, it's going to include Ellen Plattenberg.
I don't have, I just downloaded this and it is not updated. Oh, it's the second.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna get into that.
Why don't you say that? How are you?
Agendas are located.
Okay, good, yeah, thank you. Well, I didn't wanna take the only one in a file.
Oh,
no worries.
Brandon. When you get done.
Mr. Todd, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
It's.
See you too, sir.
You guys are busy with him.
Yeah.
See all your stuff with him, we're here, we're here, we're here. How's the, how do you play this? About Billy? Great, friend of yours?
Well,
Or somebody.
I would not necessarily say that.
Wait until.
Yeah, yeah, we should work. I mean, I listen to a lot of opinions, not what people think. But I let him set his own recommendations with me. I hear you. I probably won't play here.
Gonna do something.
Sure. I got hair on down here.
You had a big old, look like my Duke there, doing it is on this.
Yeah.
But. You
Yeah,
just.
it's trying to micromanage the minutes. Like, it's constant, it's like, dude, you run your bar, I don't tell you how to run your bar, you run your bar, and I will, run my bit.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't, you're not going and saying, hey, you didn't put enough of this in this drink, you just do that, no.
Yeah.
You're there to do your job.
You know, are calling me up like on Tuesday, the week before to get, well, I don't know. It's like, dude, you cancel it, you still got to pay.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday. Yeah, you can't do that. So, yeah, you say it.
So, you get.
I get it. You know, yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Right.
Advertising and this few is only. Still no merchandise. Everything. He's really good at that stuff. It's just working the,
So simple. And I would have
stuff.
It's really
He was, I think it was on the. Everything that was still on the. On the way, saying, it's from your house. It's all calm.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about this. So it's young else is doing. In some ways, but he's very honest. So he's supposed to be, you know, react. Instead of doing 6 months of value. No, he's not going to give them.
Yeah.
I don't follow your role. You can't.
Something's getting by itself. I think a lot of it, we don't have the experience. It's not a good back and all, except Susan. So I just follow paddle.
He's not quite the reputation.
Yeah, just. Like, big one. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
More. You're ready to do.
Well, another line, so you don't follow the rules. For.
And so.
I don't keep losing that.
Well,
Yes.
I posted video on something.
You know, I'm sorry, trying to look up, it's like, feeling better.
Oh, they're gonna begin to tell you.
More smoke, that's the hope of the.
He's not ready to order my stock. I was shocked.
We chat,
Did you know the holes?
Everything, my sinuses are starting to all this stuff. That persistent cough just won't go away. It's still, well, here.
Yes.
Every so often.
It's
Still there? Like, thank you. Thanks so much. Picking up.
Let's see. That's enough, but I don't know.
Valley time.
It's just turned out.
How do we say that?
Exactly.
We're not sure.
All right. Yeah. But enough of the literal.
But no, we're not. And that's where I got it for the fun. It's not like, oh, yeah, my daughter's 21, I got to be at home. That's the best thing. I wish I was still. I would redo a whole bunch of things. Always 42.
Any better?
I feel awful.
My dog.
You're gonna die.
21.
We all.
We've been driving all over.
Has to be recognized, has to be dance floor, so let me make this video thing.
That's a big.
Doesn't change. You are now looking at it.
Thank you. In the house.
I know, so I found the. Two oldest have moved out, both steps
Are you?
without. I tried to make this. It's nice. I shop usually sign. Yeah. Yeah, right over the big line. He's all that when we moved down here. Is even that here? You see, man.
Oh, I thought obviously.
Oh, I don't know. I got married when I was 19 and divorced at 23. I'll get that at 4. And he and I have been together for years. We're finally getting so. Yeah. We haven't picked a date yet, but it works in the. Okay, so. Get that part out later. These one half days away. They all are different. But he goes to it's like with all of that's where the jokes.
Something about phones or something.
Don't like that.
No, you might not so much use it, it's little weird.
Oh, much.
I used to be
sure.
There was nobody that was active. Now we learned that one second time, learned the program before we started. So I remember, I used to listen to music, I'd always, ways, the show, along with it, but it was our favorite. And then the light report, you don't even think about it. Watching.
So I was like, what about station notes?
It's well done.
Yeah, so anytime we go to a concert, they have I have some right up on there. So you know what they're. So you know, let's put this in the. Oh, that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Do whatever you want during your visit. I don't watch these. I always find that stuff fast. That's all. I just don't have any desire to nothing. Right. Like, well, come on, see the through. Yeah, and then I actually, what my. I was.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, so she's although it's been
Get ready for you.
Years later, the place rock, she was like, there's an inspiration. You know, but I think so.
Yeah, you don't see the second one.
And they're into something not big. Yeah. Weddings for years after. But just. Rather. I love going here.
Put this on. Yeah.
So this is. They look right out over the house. What do you think like?
But everybody, yeah.
I'm convinced that.
But that unfortunately, I totally get it. It's just. Yeah, she is very kind. It's very natural. I feel like I miss it so much more as a child. Well, yeah. Yes. Rick was active. And we got them to switch. You get my. He's like, Oh my God, yeah.
The snow is not back there. You can see where it's the risers. So it's just like all. You don't see
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was doing. Like, I'm so late.
I know. All right, it is 6:31. I'll call the meeting to order. Stand for what, please? Go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. Ray just gave me some stuff that we could add to the agenda tonight. It is the certificate of highway mileage and certification of compliance for road and bridge standards and network inventory. He needs it by 4/18, so it could go on the next agenda, or we could do it tonight.
Does it need just signatures?
It does, it needs signatures. I just was concerned that people hadn't had a chance, it's not in the packet, it's here. And that people haven't reviewed it yet, so if you want to hold off another meeting, we can, or we can get it done. What's the board's pleasure?
I'm assuming I know Ray, that I would trust what he said,
So
so.
Ray, you want to say anything to it? Real quick?
It's just the annual sign off every year that we're following bridge standards and road standards and we're certifying our mileage. It's basically so we're eligible to apply for grants. It's standard generic. Annual sign off.
And I don't want to get into a deep discussion right now, it's just a matter of, do we want to add it to the agenda and take care of it tonight, or next agenda? Rita?
I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
Everybody's fine? Okay, so we'll take care of that under other business. Thank you. Any other issues on the agenda from the board? Everybody's good? Comments from the select board? Any comments? Comments from citizens, topics not on the agenda? Susan, right?
Susan Wilder from Perkinsville. At the last select board meeting, I raised the point that the town and school reports did not tell a compelling story. We were provided with lists of figures, but very little narrative to explain the importance of those numbers. As I mentioned then, it took me about 3 days to carefully read the report, and I still had questions that could have been answered in narrative form. The report did not present a convincing story that would elicit a sense of pride in our town and our school, nor did it clarify the need for the budgets presented. I spent my career as an editor, a writer, a teacher of writing at the college level. In my early career, I spent 2 years as an editor for a large consulting company in the Netherlands. I edited lengthy reports on economic development projects for funding sources such as the World Bank and the IMF. Those reports were cogent stories told with both figures and narrative. It was not the vast sums of money we spent on developing countries, I remember, but rather the stories from the reporting engineers. An example, to increase prenatal health, pregnant women in sub-Saharan countries were provided with vitamins. But the women found that the vitamins increased the size of their babies and made their births difficult, much more difficult. They returned to eating the walls of their mud huts to get the minerals that their bodies were craving. Another example, in an area of Egypt in which farmers were growing valuable, long, stable cotton that had always been hand-picked, our engineers imported machinery to pick the cotton in order to shorten a time-intensive process, and thereby increase the farmers' yields and income. Because they were long stapled, the cotton bolls became tangled in the machinery. Farmers returned to picking the cotton by hand. These are stories of failures, but are compelling. They're stories of learning through experience. We have that same opportunity. Weathersfield should use the town report to tell stories of our success and challenges to justify our investment in both our town and our school. Our citizens are time pressed and concerned about their finances. We need to reassure them that dollars are producing results. To do that, we must make a strong and understandable case for the budgets, one that informs them and encourages involvement. Only 54 people attended the full meeting on February 28th, and only 74, and that includes double counting for those of us who stayed all day for both meetings, were at the town meeting. Because my husband and I were able to dedicate a full day, we learned the background for decisions and received answers to our questions. There are 2,381 registered voters in Weathersfield, and only 30% of those voted. Sadly, a majority of voters are not making the decisions for this town. The town reports our opportunity to educate our voters and to increase public participation in Weathersfield. It needs to be more readable, it needs to reach the voters sooner, and it needs to answer more questions than it raises. I am happy to volunteer as an early reader of next year's report. I could raise questions ahead of printing, help turn figures into effective narrative. I offer this in the hope that next year's town report will be more concise and a better tool for passage of both town and school budgets. In the meantime, I ask the voters to consider the damage the lack of both town and school budgets will do at this point. I encourage them to come out on May 5th, I believe that's the date, to vote in support of a well-managed town and a high school in which our students are thriving and well prepared for high school. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. And I just, go ahead. I'm just gonna address the rest of, I let Susan go once she got started. But that technically was an issue for the budget discussions, because it is relative to the budget discussion. It was very good points that you made, but I would rather have had that under the budget when we get there. So I just keep that in mind as we continue forward with our discussions.
Can I make a comment to something she said? The voting for the school is taking place on April 14th, I believe.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna be together, they're gonna be separate. And I think the informational meeting will be that Tuesday before at the school, for the school one.
Question online, who is it, where? Up in the left-hand corner, I can't read that.
I can't either.
He just came off me.
Guess he changed his mind.
Okay,
Sir?
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
you're up, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. First, I would like to thank all the board members for the time and effort they dedicate as elected officials in this town. We may not always agree with them, but we should appreciate and respect our neighbors who serve in elected and appointed positions. Having said that, my expectation for any elected officials when meeting as a board is to set aside their party affiliations, personal issues with the people they serve with or the people they represent, and to the best of their ability, make decisions that are in the best interest of this community. I would also like to thank Patience Beers for her service as the recording secretary for select board meetings. And as a veteran listed on the Veterans Memorial Roll of Honor, I especially want to thank Patience for her work honoring our town veterans while serving on the Veterans Memorial Committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And thank you for your comments.
Lisa Van Domberg Scipio himself. No, right in the midst, I can't see it either way. So I was late arriving to the select board meeting on March 5th, and I walked into a really tense room. After the meeting, on the way to the car, I learned that Patience had refrained from reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, was not confirmed as the recording secretary, and had left. At home, I reviewed the beginning of the meeting and was upset that she was not confirmed because she had exercised her First Amendment rights.
I don't know why she chooses not to say the pledge, but she should not have been punished for it. All of us have reasons for the actions that we take. And it's important to really listen, not just condemn. Here is why I am not saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I was born and raised in this country. I have the greatest respect for our defenders of our country and for our veterans. They put aside their own personal lives to step up to protect and defend us. As a healthcare professional, I work with many veterans and assisted them to recover from physical impairments, help them to deal with pain management, help them to figure out how to process and cope with some of the horrors of war, and assisted them to come into the present and move forward with dignity and respect. I've always, until now, been proud to call myself an American. I deeply fear the direction this country is going. We need to bring our troops who are fighting in an illegal war home. We need to stop arresting our fellow citizens. We need to support those who came to this country to escape oppression, not send them back into danger. We need to support due process, not pick people up off the streets, out of their jobs, their homes, away from their families, and send them to concentration camps with inhumane conditions. We need to relearn civility, how to talk with each other and how to respect those whose opinions may differ from ours without resorting to violence or calling it fake. We need to seek alternate opinions and learn the truth. We need to look at the evidence, not just take false statements at face value. We need to become active listeners and try to understand differing points of view before it's too late. If we cannot do this at the local level with our neighbors and colleagues, how can we expect to turn this country around? My mother was a Holocaust survivor. If she were alive today, she would be horrified about what's happening in this country. My father was in the army, and the flag that hangs on the side of my house was presented to my family upon his death. He too would be horrified by the direction this country is going. I will be forever grateful for our veterans who fought and currently fight for this country, but I will not support fascism or pledge allegiance to it. I just wanted everybody to hear another perspective. My refraining from speaking the pledge is not meant to disrespect our soldiers and veterans, but it is a voice against fascism in this time. I stand during the pledge because I do respect our veterans and soldiers and everything they have fought for and will continue to fight for, and appreciate their protection. I'm scared about what is happening to our country. Is ICE going to come for me? I'm not of the Christian faith. I'm an outspoken Jewish female who supports the right of people of all nationalities, faiths, colors, and sexual orientation to not only exist, but to thrive and live in peace without fear. I will not pledge allegiance to fascism. I hope we can find a way forward to turn this country around. Thank you for listening.
Anybody else? Lisa?
Lisa Slade. So I'd like to use this platform because hopefully, people within the Scottney Fire District watch select board meetings. There's gonna be a major improvement to the water district and the water service, concentrating up in the Country Estates Mobile Home Park. Very little participation in the Scottney Fire District meetings. Doesn't affect most of the town. It affects a couple hundred people that live in the water district, fire district, however you want to call it. So I just wanted to use this platform in hopes that people up in the Country Estates or whoever gets water start to pay attention to the happenings in the water district a little bit, because the meetings are not well attended, and I don't believe they're on Zoom. So anyway, that's the first thing. The second thing is I believe I know of at least 3 employment opportunities within the town of Weathersfield that have opened and maybe closed in the last couple months. 2 of them I found on the town's website, and the third one I didn't. Maybe there's more, I don't know. But I question why we have a newspaper record and employment opportunities for the town of Weathersfield are not advertised in the newspaper record. And then lastly, 2 weeks ago, I asked about the potential illegal use of an executive session on March 5th, and I haven't received a response from that, and I also questioned about the select board signing a warrant to pay for the new used fire truck. And was told that would get it looked into, and I haven't received a response to that either.
You will, as I promised.
I have a hand up online.
I was gonna ask, do you want to respond to the opportunities, jobs in papers at this time, or you want? Still no.
Well, I have it under my comment.
Okay, all right, then handle it there. Who's up online? You've already spoken once under this, sir. So I'm gonna go to somebody else first. If there is anybody. Anybody else in the room? Hearing none, okay, you're up. I can't see your name. What's your name?
Thank you, Randy Brown. Sorry about
Randy
that.
Brown.
From Ramsden. Yes, and as mentioned in that March 5th meeting, during the vote for that appointment, there was discussion and concern from a board member that it may not be appropriate for family members to work together. At the March 9th meeting, several appointments were voted on, and there was no discussion or concern from any board members about family members working together. The appointments were all unanimously voted yes. I would hope that in the future, the board members are a little more consistent when they take into consideration appointments, and they would give all the families in the town equal consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we've been around once and he was twice, so that concludes comments from citizens. Review minutes 3/9/26. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes 3/9/26?
I move that we approve the minutes of 3/9/26 as presented.
There a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Excuse me. I don't know if this is the last meeting or this is the previous meeting.
3/9 is the last one.
So I have two items. My name is misspelled and my name is missed as an attendee.
Oh, okay, we're gonna get there.
Oh, okay. Well, I was hearing of being approved, so.
No, I have to go into discussion first. There's a
Okay,
process.
got it, sorry.
Thank you. So, and that's where we are now is discussion of the minutes, so. You have, your name is misspelled in a couple places?
In one place, I'm missing in the attendee.
And. I think Brandon did these. Where's the first misspelling?
There's just one.
Okay,
Page in section 12. Section 12, right there. My line, TYTLA.
got it. Okay,
And then I'm missing in present, in person on the very beginning.
you're not there at all. That was gonna be my next question, because I didn't see it up there. That's where I was looking to begin with. And I know you were here. So. Okay. That's it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything from the board on these minutes?
Yes, under item 5, none of the motions are listed for any of the minutes. Same thing under item number 7 for large gathering permits.
Yeah, who made the motion and who seconded, you mean?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that stuff needs to be there. And there was one thing that I caught in here, and that's under appointments. And that was Jacob Chase. Remember when we got to Jacob Chase, I asked him to take the alternate spot. In the minutes, it says he was appointed to a spot. And that should go to I think Jacob's here, he's right over there. And so that because that other spot was the one that Beth Hutton had put her name in, and she's here, and she's on the agenda, so I just wanna make sure we get that correct. Boris?
It could just be changed to say seat 1A, just the A is missing.
Okay. Seat 1A, got it. And that makes it the alternate, so it's just missing the, thank you, Tim. Okay, anything else on these minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes, 9/3/9/26, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Minutes carried. It's unanimous. Good. Next on the agenda is a report appointment of a recording secretary.
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna step out for this discussion.
I have spent a great deal of time reviewing procedure of bringing this question again before the board, and in almost all instances found that it was out of order. A review with the town manager and with Dr. Murray, who is a licensed or certified, yes, parliamentarian. The question can come before the board again. So here we are. The recording secretary, is that listed over here on the right? Yes, no?
No, it's not. It's on the agenda, but I was asked to keep applications because it's an actual paid position. I was asked to keep those within the board. So that's what I've done.
Okay,
I was also asked to keep appointed official applicants with the board and not publish information online due to the sensitive information it may contain,
okay,
such as phone number, address, email address.
okay, I'm okay with that. I think it raises another question for me. I just don't think that this is the appropriate time for it, so we'll take it up under a discussion of that policy or whatever when we get there. So that does, so who's the applicant? Because
We have one applicant, Patient Stairs.
okay, is there a nomination?
I nominate Patience first for recording secretary.
Is Patience here tonight?
She is not, she's on vacation, she'll be back next week.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to appoint Patience Beers as recording secretary. I have some things that I want to deal with the minutes. And that is what's in the minutes, consistency in the minutes and that kind of thing. And that's all. I'll take that up with the town manager and Patience. If in fact she is approved. There's no point in discussing it now, she's not here. Right? All right. So all in favor of Patience Beers for recording secretary? And this was a roll call the last time, I'm gonna do a roll call this time. Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. Joe?
Nay.
Joe is nay. Rika?
Yes.
2. Boy, doesn't that put me in a precarious place?
Mhm.
Huh.
I would remind you that at the planning commission meeting the other night, nobody batted an eyelash.
I know, I voted for it there, I voted there too.
As did I.
As did Joe. I think the issues that I have in this case strictly dealing with minutes come down to how they're done, what's in them, consistency. I think that's something that can be handled. I vote aye. It's 3-1. Patience is the recording secretary.
So it was consistency, details, and what? Vehicles?
I can take, it's not a big, I can take it up with them, it's just, and I can, well, we're done with this and action's been taken, so discussion's over.
Can come in.
We have a hand up online, so.
I get it. If you wanna deal with them. Oh, she left? No, I'm just kidding. I heard you.
Hand up online,
I can't see who. it is.
Andrea.
Hi, it's Andrea Murray. I just had actually a procedural question for the board. Brendan had mentioned this was a employed position, and my understanding with the secretaries were they are a volunteer that receive a stipend. And that's very different than an employed position that gets hourly wage, that gets benefits, that gets X, Y, and Z. And this is very relevant with the budget upcoming if we now have to add all of our secretaries as employee positions as opposed to how it's always been done. It's been a stipend position. They get a certain amount of money. The labor board is also in agreement with the process that does not make them an employee. They do have to have a 1099, but they are not an employee that gets benefits per se. So I think we really need to clarify that because that's a real problem. And I think that's a concern because how many secretaries do we now have in these different boards? And if they're all going to be employees with benefits, I think that needs to come before the board for just for budgeting purposes. Thank you.
Thank you. Would that be a question for like VLCT?
So the reporting secretaries do receive a stipend, they do not receive benefits. But because they receive a stipend, they are considered employees of the town.
Does that make us employees?
Yes. You guys.
Be quiet.
You guys each get a W-2 from the town. So.
Yeah, I do, but I don't have to. Because I'm self-employed and I talked to Steve about that. I could do a 1099, you could 1099. That would actually hurt me though, because then I'd have to pay my full social security tax as opposed to the town paying half of it, which. So it's good, either way, tax is tax, anyway, okay. So you don't think that there's a question there for VLCT to look into?
I can ask the question, but they are considered employees the way that we've always done them. I'll look into it more.
We might have somebody that wants an answer, because
Okay.
what I'm getting at.
And like clear in thinking that this would not be new, this would be continuing a practice that we've done all along.
Correct.
So it's not really in addition to.
No, it's not in addition to the budget. The select board recording secretary has always received the stipend.
But one of the questions that's brought up for me in talking to Brandon about it was if it's employment, it wouldn't end at the end of the year and require a new appointment. Your employment would just continue on. So it doesn't seem like they're quite the same thing, but there might be some other category or bracket that they fit into. I don't know the answer to that. That's why I'm asking. That's something we should look into. So at VLCT, I don't. We're members, that's not an expense. Okay, thank you. That moves us to public hearing road reclassification petition, highways 112 and 118. Who's taking the lead on this and who's here to speak on? Brian.
I'm Brian Bosenberg for the record. So, Brandon, could you put up the highway map for me, please?
Of course.
So thanks for putting us on your very busy agenda. We're appearing here tonight to present 3 petitions for the reclassification of town highways number 112 and 118. The petitioners are myself and my wife, Beth Humpton, Richard and Ellen Clattenburg, and Brent and Whitney Battison. Unfortunately, the Battises were unable to attend tonight. Highways 112 and 118 are currently classified as a class 4 road and noted on the town highway map is impassable or untraveled. We are requesting the select board reclassify these highways as legal trails. To orient you, we're going to refer to the town highway map. And the yellow is 112 and the other greenish blue color is 118. Highway 112 has 2 points of access. The one access is from, this is Reservoir Road here to orient everybody. So it would be Reservoir Road, not far from the intersection of Patty Hill. And also it pops back out of the Butterfield Hill. road. So that would be the 2 points of access for 112. 118 branches off of 112 and continues on all the way to the Springfield and now on. Highway 118 and 112 are also known as the Crown Point Road. As a class 4 road, as everybody knows, licensed motor vehicles are permitted, even though both of these roads are almost unpassable. And Brandon, if we could refer to some of the photos, I went out and took a series of photos. We won't go through all of them, but just to give everybody a sense of what the character of this road is. And those were included in the select board package. This is the entrance of Reservoir Road for Highway 112. And then Brandon, if you could just flick through a couple here. As we go up the hill, you can see there's evidence of an old road there. And then in some places it becomes, pretty muddy and not impassable during the winter, during the summer months. This was all frozen at the time. And again, a series of photos, you get a sense of the character. If we could skip ahead to a couple more. Again, here's a great kind of example of what the character of most of the road is like. Many spots, if we go a little bit further, we start to see there's a number of fallen trees. And especially as we get over towards Butterfield Hill Road, we could flip ahead here a bit. We start to have even more brush and trees down, which makes the entrance from Butterfield Hill for Highway 112 pretty much impassable. You have to go off of the highway and go on private property to get around all the debris and fallen trees. Majority of both the highways are only accessible by foot or so possibly mountain bike. But unfortunately, from time to time, we've had problems with ATVs and unlicensed motorcycles riding on these tracks. And that's where the idea for this petition originated. Because of the fallen trees and the debris, a lot of times the ATVs and the motorcycles deviate off of these roads and go onto private property, and then they go up our logging roads and our farm roads, and it usually happens when the terrain is the wettest and creates erosion. In the past, we used to clear the fallen trees so people could ride and walk on these trails, but we decided against that because of the problems we've been having with people using unlicensed vehicles on these tracks. It has discouraged use a little bit, but I guess it's also exacerbated the problem because people now cut around the fallen trees and things, so that the order of magnitude of erosion and things have magnified. So we think a better solution is to convert these to a legal trail and limit their use to non-motorized vehicles, and also limit it only to class 1 bicycles, e-bikes. The reclassification would prohibit all motor vehicles and give us, the landowners, the incentive to work with others to coordinate debris removal on the trails, open it to low impact activities that better fits the area's character, and expand our outdoor trail network, which I know is a concern for something the Conservation Commission has been talking about. Your packet includes all this information in the 3 petitions. I'm happy to answer any question or go into a deeper explanation if anybody would like.
Are we proposing to change the width of the right of way with this reclassification so it would still stay 50 feet?
No, what you see is what you get. The difference would be, the only thing we would do is if there's a group that wants to help clean up the Crown Point Road, we would work with them to do that. We would allow them to come on the property. And if they needed to go onto our property to facilitate the removal of the other trees, we would work that out. We'd be amenable to doing something that we're not changing the road, we're not paving the road, we're doing nothing to it except making it more user friendly. Yes, sir.
Was the road be posted, the entrances be posted?
Well, that's one of the things we've been thinking about. We haven't taken that next step because I think if we're going to classify it as a legal trail, then I think coordination needs to happen with the Conservation Commission, and then it needs to say it's a trail that starts here and it ends here. So a great example of that would be
No motorized vehicle.
from here to here, we could post it and say, and then this could be sort of an out and back, because our property line runs about right here, and we did this to our property line. So we could post it end of legal trail, and then the other parts of this that go all the way to the Springfield town line could remain a class 4 road. If someone else wanted to convert their class 4 road through their property to a legal trail, then would be great, but we're not advocating that at the present time. We figure we take a small step and see what happens.
My question actually was very similar to his. I had it all written down. Class 4 road cannot be blocked by law. Can a trail entrance be gated?
I don't know the answer to that, Mike. My intention wasn't not to gate it, was more to post it and say motorized vehicles are not permitted on this, and then I have no intention of gating it. I didn't.
Well, I would almost recommend if you can to do that. I've seen instances where if they're not gated, I mean, I've spent time with the snowmobile clubs. We have to gate those snowmobile club trails, and those aren't class 4 roads or legal trails. Those are access that is freely given through an agreement between the landowners and the snowmobile club. Vast. But if we don't put gates up on those things, they get abused bad.
Yeah, so the question then becomes, if you're riding your horse, or if you have a bicycle, how do you get through the gate? So maybe what happens is we would get what's a lay-by gate where it's wide enough for a horse or a bicycle to get through. They run perpendicular to the trail, one will go part of the way, one will go the other, would prevent ATVs and larger motorcycles, but you could still get your bicycle or ride your horse through that.
Or walk around it.
Yeah, and then we would certainly be amenable to looking out something like that with the Conservation Commission or however it is, or we might even do it ourselves. Because it wouldn't be that big of a deal to put up a couple of, I'm speaking for my neighbors, but I believe that putting up 2 or 3 gates would not be a problem, and we would even cover the cost of making some signs.
Well, those things become, yeah, well, actually, it's a town right of way becoming a town trail as opposed to a class 4 road.
That's correct.
So you would need town permission for the gates and stuff. But it would have to be, again, within the law, and I don't know the answer to that either. That's
Take that next step, Mike, because I just wanted to see where we were here. We're happy to do the research and come back and present the findings, and also happy to submit a little simple sketch of the gate and the appropriate sign to it. That would be the board's wish.
One more for Kelly, and then I'll come to you. Photo number 22.
22.
22 looks like there's a yellow possible arrow or something on a tree.
Well, it's fine for the crown.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's what I wanted to know.
yeah, the crown, it's not well marked, but it's marked in a yellow stripe.
And so none of this is snowmobile trails. They're not,
People have asked us to snowmobile on that, and we tell them no.
well, and that's your right. So, that's the way that system works. So, that's okay. Kelly.
I just got a question about e-bikes. Why would you even want a class that one goes 20 miles per hour? Well, why would you even want that on a road? And do we allow those on other trails that we have in Weathersfield?
Well, a couple answers to that. So I'm a big cyclist, but I don't have an e-bike, but all my friends at my age have e-bikes. So do I want to discriminate against my other e-bike friends? No, because they'll be mad at me. But realistically, so you're right. But that's why I suggested we limit it to a class 1, because it has to be pedal assist. And then it powers you up to 20 miles an hour. Once you get 20 miles an hour, if you're going downhill and keep on pedaling, you can get to 25 miles an hour. So, and that's why we said class 1, because class 2 e-bikes, that's power automatically right up to 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And we won't even go to class 3 because that's like an electric motorcycle.
Yeah, so like 40, yeah.
Yeah, but we thought a lot about that, and I was like, the number of people I know that have e-bikes is quadrupled in the last year, and I think it's good because, okay, they're getting battery assist, but they're out there pedaling.
How are they gonna get over those trees and stuff that you got now?
Well, so if
They have to stop and pick it up.
well, it's what happens now. Some of my neighbors ride their mountain bikes and they pick them up and throw them over that. But as part of this, we're happy to work with, or we would be willing to continue to clear. We used to maintain and cut all the trees out of the trail. We used to keep it open, but then we started to have problems with the ATVs and the motorcycles. So
Well, I just worry about having to get rescue out in there when you got a bike going 20 miles an hour, running over someone who's walking down the trail. I mean, I just,
If you look at those trails, and you flip back to some of the other pictures, I think 20 miles an hour is optimistic on some of them.
they're always willing to try it.
But you also think about that, so if someone's riding a horse, they fall off the horse,
Yeah.
they rescue out there, but. I don't think this is gonna increase the usage tremendously. I think it's gonna be more of a local thing for people in the neighborhood that know about it. I think it's a great opportunity to open up a, an unused asset for the town here.
I'm gonna back up for just a second and cover my butt, cause I screwed up. I never opened this hearing. We're reading discussion.
You want me to start all over again?
So really quick, we're gonna open this hearing. The questions and everything, they'll still be relevant. We haven't made a decision, so. A public hearing has been warned for highways 112 and 118 at Martin Memorial Hall, March 23rd, 6:30. Matters to be considered. The select board will consider petitions requesting the following actions: reclassification of road segments from class 4 town highways to legal trails, including portions of town highway 112 and portions of town highway number 118, as depicted on submitted maps and located on or adjacent properties owned by the Battis. Is that correct? Battis?
Yes.
Clattenburg and Bosenberg hunting parcels. Motorized vehicle restrictions on the proposed legal trails include allowing the use of class 1 electric bicycles and prohibiting the use of motor-driven cycles, motor-assisted bicycles, and class 2, class 3 electric bicycles consistent with the definitions set forth in 23 VSA statutes annotated number 4. Geographical areas affected. The geographical areas affected included portions of town highway 112, town highway 118, identified in the petitions and accompanying maps. These areas are located within the town of Weathersfield and are more particularly shown on maps available for public inspection. Availability of materials, petitions, maps, photographs, and related supporting materials are available for inspection at the town office during regular business hours. Participation. Persons wishing to be heard and participate in the meeting may do so in person or may be represented by an agent or an attorney. Written comments may be submitted to the select board prior to or at a public hearing. That warning was signed by this board: Kelly O'Brien, Forrest Pierce, Nathan McNaught, Rika Henderson, and Michael Todd. So the hearing is open. I'd like a motion to include the previous statements in the record of the hearing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to include the previous statements on the record in the hearing on the record. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that clears that mess up. Sorry. Sorry, Brian. One second, if you would. Just really quick, the hearing process for this. 3 readings on this, or are there 3? What's the process on this?
So the select board would close the hearing and it could make a decision, or it could carry it to the next meeting if additional information is requested from the board.
Has there been any written comments or questions or concerns submitted
No,
to the town?
we haven't received anything.
Mr. Chair, there's people typing online.
Okay, Kelly had her hand up.
No, I did.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay, hand up online. Who's got their hand up?
They're typing it in.
Oh, they're typing it in.
Someone was fighting
I
something.
saw text
Oh,
pop up in there.
I need binoculars for that.
Me too.
All right, we have David. Would you like me to read?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
I believe the town's class 4 road description is for 3 rods, and the trail definition is 15 feet. The Conservation Commission has not taken this up at the site. It is also very important to know on the ground where the direct changes from class 3 to class 4 are on both ends so as not to create a potential Old Bull Road similar position. Example, turnaround.
Brian, would you like to address that?
So, I think you handle that with signage, the trail ends.
Okay. 3 rods Is that,
Well, one rod is 16 feet, I know that.
Ray, you wanna chime in on this? Sure. A little bit, please?
What do you want?
Huh?
What do you want?
Something. The information that I wanna deal with that question, that was just in a little.
So it's my understanding that yes, most roads are 3 rod roads, which is 49.5 feet. When you create a trail, specifically a new road trail, it is 15 feet by standard. But you have a right of way right now that is 3 rod, the trail would stay 3 rod and just be a trail. You'd still possess the same right of way. It doesn't change to a 15-foot right of way.
Thank you, that cleared that up.
And to answer that question, we don't want any more property, we're fine with where we are here. We're not looking to reduce the right of way.
Well, for me, that just means that you can take the trail and go like this, through the 50-foot right of way, right?
You could. It maybe works to the advantage of having that flexibility, yes, the rocks or erosion or whatever, I would agree.
Okay. Hand up on there, I thought Mr. Often
yeah.
had his hand up.
This,
Is there
up
any?
to the place.
Sorry. Stephen Donovan. Is there any thing that we have to consider with this being part of the Crown Point Road? Is there anything that someone at the state would have concern? I mean, it's class 4 road anyways, but.
Well, so it is, the Crown Point is a class 4 road.
Okay.
It's a deeded right away on our property along with the town highway.
One thing to consider is the power of Google. If someone puts a pinpoint on the map that says there's a trail now, that's everybody. I get things on my social media feed about trails in Montpelier and North Carolina. It's all over the map. Is there any parking? I mean, could this create a problem for you down the line? Because now it's a trail, people know about it, there's increased use and there's nowhere to park at the head. I'm not familiar with it. This is just questions I'm trying to.
So a little bit for the way we thought about it is that certainly you could park on Caddy Hill Road here and then walk down up to the beginning of this trail. I think parking on Reservoir Road is not a good idea just because of the curve and the travel speed. On the top of Butterfield Hill Road, there is a place to just pull off the wrong side of the road and park and then use the trail.
Our experience with class 4 roads is rather interesting. Because they do turn up on the Google Maps and UPS, FedEx, anybody that doesn't know where they're going is still looking for that road. So it's all kinds of stuff going on there.
Got a hand up.
And Andrea, online.
Hi, Andrea Murray, thank you. I have actually a question and then a comment. My question is, are there any other trails in town that have similar usage limits as far as the type of device or vehicle that can go down that trail? And then my second thing is that where it says all motor driven cycles, I would just mention that there's no exclusion for handicapped access vehicles that are specifically motor driven. So that people understand that if they have one of those 4-wheel drive things, that's not necessarily prohibited.
Sure, I mean, I certainly would welcome that ADA accessible 4-wheel drive vehicle, you can make that stipulation, I think. To your first point, Andrea, I think the only other legal trail that I know is the one that goes from East Camp.
Yeah.
Hello there, hi, you have one?
Yes, I have one.
Hi, you want to come up and talk about your trail?
I can do that.
There, we have a live example.
Patty Emerson. So our driveway turns into what was Old Camp Hill Road, which connects to Skyline. And at the end of our driveway, we have 2 metal signs put there by the town that say no motorized vehicles. And on the Skyline, and there is a wooden gate. It doesn't open or close. It's just there to prevent motorized vehicles, and also the 2 signs that say no motorized vehicles. It gets Many people walk, ride their horses and ride their fat tire mountain bikes through there because you can make a nice loop with Cook's Pond. It's worked out well. It's worked out beautifully.
So Patty, I have a question for you. What about park? Do you have a problem with parking? Because that seems to be a concern here.
We
People
don't,
parking.
if people have, most people don't need to park. They're, you know, coming out the front doors and walking the loop. Some people park at the meeting house.
Okay. Thank you.
Patty, one other question, back to the, I think the question that Andrea was asking. Are there any of those other special circumstances assigned to this, like the level of battery control or any of that stuff?
No, I think it predates the invention of e-bikes.
Well, I know the road does.
When it was changed, when we first moved there, which was more than 20 years ago, we did have motorcycles driving through, and we did have UPS trucks trying to get to
Of course.
to Skyline Drive, but that hasn't happened.
Good. Okay.
So,
And the only other trail I know of is the one from East Camp. Right?
I don't, is that East West Campbell Road, which, right, is that a trail or?
I have to look again, but it's the only other one I know.
The trail, there's no.
Let's try to stay in ours.
So maybe we have to just raise this to, sorry.
Sidebar.
Sorry. I'll ask my question in public then.
So Ray, can you just, could you just restate what you said about East Camp Hill Road, that trail, please? No, Ray. Highway.
It's listed in the trail on the highway map.
Okay.
There's no postings, there's no restrictions.
Actually, if we put up the highway map again, it would show whatever trails there are in town.
We have many trails in town. And they're all posted differently.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was thinking, that there's probably different circumstances depending on where you are. And what you're doing with I mean, it's your property, it's the town right away, but it's crossing your property.
I have what used to be a class 4 road that goes up through a Scotney Notch. And it has subsequently become a trail. We do have a gate. Actually, the neighbor who lives at the top of the notch put up a gate that goes most of the way across the opening, but not all the way. So a horse or a bicycle can go through without even, you have to pick your horse up and carry it over. But we did have a problem because before the gate, we'd have Jeeps and ATVs come down, and it's like, once you go about 10 feet, you realize there's no turning back. You have no choice but to keep going. And it was really hazardous. So there is now a sign at the top of the hill that says no motorized vehicles. And there's parking down at my end of the trail and up at the upper end.
Joe? Brian, could you point out the Crown Point Road on that map? If you don't mind zooming into it a little bit.
And so here, and it continues right over to Spring.
Okay, and then it continues up past the lots. My question is, say if somebody's traveling up from Springfield or down that, or coming down from the north on it, what area do they have to bypass this property or this area that would be coming down to a trail if they're not allowed to have a motorized vehicle on it? And is there an avenue that somebody could take either, those motorized vehicles that wouldn't be permitted through that around legally that wouldn't pose some sort of undue hardship or unintended effect on that?
So you're saying traveling on the class 4 road?
Yes, if they were, we all know it's not exactly all of it's passable, but hypothetically speaking, if somebody was brave enough to venture down on that, where it is already classified as it, first of all, bless their heart, but what type of way do they have around that wouldn't get them in a bucket of hot water?
Okay, so if they were going to, so right here, this is Wellwood Orchard Road. Continue on down to Reservoir Road. And to here, so what you're essentially doing is just bypassing this one section here. You'd have to pop down here, turn up here and go.
But can you legally drive ATV on the road?
But you can't legally drive an
Only if
ATV
you don't
on a
get
class
caught.
4 road.
Yeah,
You can't drive an ATV on a class 4 road because it's not a licensed vehicle.
okay. Well, just curious on that, on how it works, because I'm not very familiar with all of that stuff, so that's how you learn.
Well, the one thing I can say about it is from either side of you, you can't get from the Springfield side to the Cavendish side. You just, you can't, it's not passable,
Right.
in way to, a bunch of places, in a 4-wheel, not even in a truck. You're not going.
It's tough to walk.
And there's a few places, like, for instance, well, you mentioned Wellwood Orchards. That the actual location of the Crown Point Road cuts right straight through that orchard. When that was adopted, there was an agreement to go around the edges of the orchard. Exactly what you're saying, that is there a way around it? Yeah, well, he's
Because I was kind
demonstrated,
of looking for like the unintended consequences.
he's demonstrated there's a way around it anyway, so.
But it's not like there's somewhere to actually be able to go all the way on it, so I do understand that part.
Yeah.
Right now, it'd be extremely difficult. This section from Butterfield Hill to about here is, I mean, when I walked it, I hadn't been up there in almost a year. When I walked, I couldn't believe the number of large trees that were down, and I had to circumvent 150 feet out of the way to get back on the trail. It's really tough to have a tremendous number of blowdowns just because of the type of forest that's there.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. My apologies. You had your hand up for a
And
bit.
you can stay right there. Yeah. My name is Michael Keeley. I live on Butterfield Hill Road. What are these random numbers? What do they signify?
I was helping here, random numbers, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's 106, there's 61, there's.
Okay, so if we zoom back out, those are the town highway numbers, correct, Frank?
Yes.
Okay, so those are the, so if you go back out to the key, which is on the upper left here.
Yeah, I'm 70 years old. I can't see that even here, so.
Okay,
but thanks.
So if you look at, so we pointed out 106.
No, that was just a random, I just pointed to it.
Yeah.
What I'd like to ask you is, you mentioned Butterfield Hill a number of times. I live on Butterfield Hill. Can you show me where that is?
Yep. Right here. And this is where Dana Roy is, right here.
Okay.
And this is the Butterfield, and this is the, I guess you call that the loop on Butterfield.
Yeah, so when you mentioned parking, where on Butterfield Hill are they gonna park?
Well, it'd be right by the entrance to where Highway 112 would come out. And there's the road is pretty wide there, they could pull off on the trail with them.
There's no parking there. And so that's just a road.
But a lightly traveled road, so my guess would.
My driveway.
Well, but where is your driveway?
Oh, this is Dana, I'm right here.
Okay, so my guessing is from where you are, where Dana is, that's a fair distance there. So. I'm not familiar completely exactly where property line is, but if two or three. Right, I know that. So, but if you park 2 or 3 cars here, would that block your driveway?
You know what? I don't wanna have to pick up after them like I do after the hunters.
Yep.
You know, they have their beers, they have their lunch, they throw, excuse me.
Yeah, no, we have the same problem with, when we clean up on the Crown Point Road and then this highway here, we pick up all here, the Plattenbergs pick up garbage all the time, so we're very familiar.
So if you change the classification, I have a 4-wheel. I don't drive on your property, I don't drive on Dana's property, but that's my driveway. And it's my driveway all the way to where it exits Dana's property and goes into the woods. That's mine, it's his and mine.
Okay, I did not know that you had a shared right away.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So my question is, do I get to drive my 4-wheel on my own driveway?
On your own driveway, you do.
Like my driveway is,
We go up to right to the beginning of Highway 112 here.
Brian, can you step more to your right end point or left or whatever, so that, yeah, you're not blocking the
That's great,
street.
that works. I
Thank
feel
you.
like I'm on the place that's right.
You don't the other side, but whatever.
I'm not against it. I just want to be able to use my own driveway.
Yeah, so I think your right of way or your driveway, if you share it with Dana, ends as it's illustrated here, and then it changes to Highway 112. Which is what we're talking about then. As I understand this correctly, Highway 112 ends here, and this is another designated highway, there, number 58.
In the woods, I guess. There's no road here, 58.
No, this is the Butterfield Hill Road. I think it's designated as number 58.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
signed this, the number, just like they've signed a number 2. 112 here.
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, just. I'm gonna his hand up to speak and
I just want to comment, I'm very familiar with the property because I'm out there, I'm out there all the time. The part we want to change ends at our property line between our property and theirs. It doesn't affect the driveway at all.
Okay,
Okay,
that is my driveway though.
I know, but we're not asking to change that.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Except for it's turning, if this turns into a popular location,
yeah,
then it's a parking.
it ends here. Here's Dana's property here and you're here.
Mhm.
And this is the town. It ends right here. Yeah.
My concern is not where it is.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, my concern is the parking.
Yeah, and I share that same concern with you.
Ray, I was coming to you, if you would, okay, I'll leave my turn. You're up, it's your turn, parking.
Just parking or the whole thing?
Well, you can do the whole thing, but just parking, if you would.
So, the Crown Point Road was designated as a class 4 road from start to finish. It is not one road. It is actually, I think, 5. And it's different road numbers and different segments. Not that it's an issue, but there has been multiple issues with people being upset about this class 4 road being through their hayfield or through their orchard. It is literally, this is the map, and you talked about a bypass and an agreement to go around and all that. This is where the road is. That is right through the orchard. There is no bypass. This is the legal state map. So we have a class 4 road. It actually doesn't go all in Springfield. There's another road number that goes to Springfield at the end of the. This area is under a lot of, I've had multiple questions about using the class 4 road to logging access. That's an issue with some people that want to use that for logging. The biggest thing with this is when we as a town laid this out or claimed it as a class 4 road, it was never surveyed. I would highly recommend. I love trails. I support it. I support the act. I know the issues with parking and all that. There's ways to fix that. I think if you do this and you do it correctly and get it surveyed and get a policy developed and have it really thought out in the future, you could probably see this whole Crown Point Road turning into one. That's kind of where I'm at. There's segments that don't connect. You go to the end of here and you have to walk down the dirt road, to get to the next part of the Crown Point Road. So it's not a continuous road. If that's what the town wants to do, that's fine. As far as having it a trail, I would highly recommend as a policy to make all trails marked the same. If you're gonna have, now there's e-bikes, they're new. I think they should be allowed. Not the power ones, but the level ones, and do it townwide on all trails, so it's uniform. If you want to develop this, right now, this is not used for a trail. It's not gonna be, I don't think it's gonna change any in the use. This is a class 4 road, and where the property stops, it's not gonna affect your driveway. You do have concerns about parking and trash, which is to be expected. I don't see a problem with it being a trail. The only problem that I see is not doing it right. I would love to see it surveyed and have it marked so we know exactly where it is. Do it right, use this for an example, and you might be able to solve the problem of the whole Crown Point Road and all the arguments that are still ongoing about ownership and placement of the trail. That's where I'm at.
Well, let me ask you the big question that just came out of that statement. Who pays for the survey?
Yeah.
Who pays for the survey?
Town road, town right away. We want to show where it is, we have to pay for it.
Okay.
So can I just interject on our survey map for our property, we have meets and bounds description for the Crown Point Road, I believe, in our deed. It actually has Anglican bearings that goes through our section here that's about like that.
That's probably a starting point, but I would highly recommend surveying it.
You're looking for monuments, to be correct.
I wouldn't say monuments, just proper marking, like have a map and have it electronic copy and. From this day forward, we know exactly where it is. You also should have a policy about logging. If those birds and the neighbors want to log up there, it's no longer a class 4 road, no motorized vehicles, you can't log, you can't drive on it. So you should have a policy where there's an exception for the homeowner to actually use it for logging as well if they want. Just have it written up in a policy, figured out, so there is no questions later on down the road and no arguments. There. Those are just a couple of things that jump out to me. We don't know the exact distances yet on the 118 road. I spent winter, I've been able to go out there and find it and measure it off and guess. So if you're gonna vote to approve this, you really should know the distances and the location of the road before you do it.
Do you have any way to ballpark, just off the cuff now, what it might cost for that?
For survey,
Yes.
depends on what, if they have that map for his property, it might be a lot easier, but if they're gonna have to go through all the ancient road stuff, it might be a lot more complicated. We're talking probably under 20 grand.
Under 20 grand.
I'm hoping. But it's a very important piece to this. If you don't do it, you're gonna keep coming back and having problems.
Mr. Sheriff, we
Yes.
had some text questions online and multiple hands raised.
Okay. Who's? Could we hold the conversation? So you were ready to.
Are you taking minutes?
No,
Okay.
I didn't give it to patients.
Oh, okay.
Give the recording there.
Okay.
I didn't expect to be the test case and setting precedents, but why not?
Question number 1, are these roads public roads? And I just wanted to say I own an e-bike and have driven all over town, and you wouldn't be able to tell where my bike has gone any differently than a full pedal bike.
Okay. Next.
Question number 2, how long is the potential trail? I couldn't imagine that it would become too popular if it's not more than a couple miles.
I'd say it's total maybe 2 miles.
That's on the map, you
Could be did out back.
And then number 3, David, way too complicated. Stay on this small request. If parking is a problem from the Keeleys, perhaps the Beth Hunton could accommodate a small area at the end. Okay.
And then up on the top left, Andrea, and there's, who's beside Andrea? Andrea's spoken several times. And that one there, April something. April Bartley. You're up.
Yes, yes. I think that we don't have enough information. This is a class 4 road. Having come from New Hampshire and saw a lot of class 6 roads that just disappeared, they're a valuable resource to this community. And I think we haven't fully thought out the consequences of changing it to a legal trail status.
What would we be losing there if it went to a trail? And that's
You're asking,
real
you're
question.
asking me?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think it's you're restricting access to residents potentially. We're already talking about, it just starts to erode away. Okay, we don't want motorized vehicles on there. Now we don't want e-bikes on there. Next thing you know, they won't like I have horses. Horse manure is toxic. It's too high impact. I've just seen it happen too many times, and I think it's really concerning to think about. It's essentially town property that will be restricted.
The intent was to ban horses.
So I guess my only answer to that is.
Not yet.
Oh, hang on, April.
So April, my answer to that is restricting access. I mean, as it is now, maybe you could get a 4-wheel drive Jeep down part of it, but there's places that it's so rutted and there's such large rocks that it's darn near impassable as it is now in a lot of spots. Other spots, it's not. So I just think by doing this, you're actually increasing access. Granted, you're correct. We are eliminating motorized vehicles by changing the classification from class 4 to a trail. That's correct.
In this area, and this would go to all of the abutters that are up in this area. What are the properties, abutting properties and properties look like that are around it? In other words, like if we look at John Jensen Road, that goes out, stops, has a turnaround, and 80 acres up above it that I believe has development restrictions on it anyway. But is there a circumstance where there a lot of development would happen around this road or this area?
No, because that portion of our property is in a conservation easement.
On all three.
On all three. So there won't be any development. So I guess you're leading to, gee, could it be ultimately a way to develop the property?
Well, her point was limiting access.
Right.
And I'm going at the access point. Does it exist? Well, not the access point, but the development point. I mean, you don't need access if there's nothing you can do.
Right. And if both of those properties or all three of those properties are conserved.
Okay.
I mean, there is on the one portion of our property, there is a deed of right of way that's, even though the property is conserved, we do have one building lot in there, but that has nothing to do with this road or anything like that.
Both of us being planning commissioners, we know that in a subdivision, if there was going to be a development, it starts with the subdivision, and the subdivision is going to include a right of way guaranteeing access to a lot that gets developed or that is created. Joe, you got another?
Of course, you got your hand up before me.
I just want to say reclassifications work both ways. It can be reclassified to a trail, but it can also be reclassified in the other direction.
That's true.
It's not giving up, it's not a discontinuance. Town maintains ownership of the right of way. We're not giving anything.
We're not
up.
asking you to throw it up.
No, you're not asking for a discontinuance, so we're just changing the classification. It can work both ways.
And the point was made earlier that it doesn't change the width of the right of way.
No. That's
Even
not
though-
being reclassified.
Okay. I forget. Emmett. Yes.
Emmett, as Patty alluded to too, you live on one of these, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I live, my front garden is basically the Weathersfield Centre Grove, right? Which is a nice loop for people to walk on the next to your trail. I think the parking thing is a little bit, the fear of the parking thing, from what I see, is a little overblown because, again, how often do I see a car parked in the Grove because somebody's going for a walk? You know, maybe once every fortnight I'll see a car parked, somebody's going for a walk. I don't think it's going to turn into Las Vegas because it's been turned into a different classified road, you know? I see absolutely zero. I'm genuinely kind of slightly flummoxed as to why anybody would even want to discuss this. You know, it seems to me, yeah, this sounds great for opening it up to encourage people to move their bodies and exercise. There's plenty of places where you can drive cars and vehicles. You know, if it gets one person out to walk or get on their bike, I genuinely flummoxed as to why it's even a discussion. Why would they not do this? Why would anybody not want to do this? Don't know. But yeah, the parking thing, I think, overblown.
I'm putting in my house.
Let's, hey guys, excuse me, let's direct the comments to the chair.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was gonna say, is there an intent to like advertise this and put signs up and tell people how to get there?
I have no intent to do that.
We have a hand.
Andrea, we have a, guys, could we hold it? Thanks. Andrea?
Hi, thank you. This is just kind of expanding on my other question. Since this trail, the other trail that somebody mentioned, there's a sign that says no motorized vehicle, where this one is limiting it to a specific type of vehicle, which, I mean, as a layperson, I wouldn't know one way or another. So who's going to be the oversight of this? Are we talking, you call the police and you give a ticket? Are officers going to have to go trudging through the trail to hunt this person down? Is it an ordinance where the only value is if you create fines on that, and who's going to be policing this type of thing? Or I guess my question also is, who's policing it now if we're putting specific limitations on a trail as opposed to all or none?
First thing I'll say is the law's the law, so, if somebody's violating a law, yeah, we're gonna probably have the police involved in it. I think Ray addressed the policy earlier, that ought to be created. We already have a class 4 roads policy that I think trails are somewhat included in. And that needs to be expanded, that's what you're talking about, and, make it so that all the trails are in the town are consistent with one another, so that they're not different all over the place. So I think that comes after this, moving forward. I think it has to. I think we do need to address that. Joe?
I have another question on this too, along the line of unintended consequences. So say we take this and, to DeForest's point, we can always change it back to a class 4 road. What type of implication would Act 181 have with the road rule on here? Say, not all of it is in conservation, but a good chunk of it is. You still have a buildable lot way down the line. You got that 800-foot road rule. We already have a technical road, and that's a stretch by calling it that. But could that have some sort of impact in the future that we're not thinking about?
Well, part of the challenge with the road rule, and I don't really want to go down this road.
Yeah, I know it's a whole different rabbit hole.
And because the road rule, there's all kinds of things going on with, potential amendment but I mean, I will say, Joe, to your point is, any of our access points to this future lot, there's already a gravel road there. There's a logging road that's there that could be it exists on the property. It's evident. You can see it in aerial photography. So I don't think that would apply to that lot because that road exists.
Mike, I have 2 comments online.
I just want to address what Brian just said, because I'm a bit confused where I remember talking about Act 181 and like roads that are access roads that they're not. This is actually, you're talking about town roads or just access points? Are they deeded access?
Yeah, we have an access point that comes in from.
Okay.
That gets us to the lot.
All right, then that makes it, because Act 181 says if you have something about, like if you've got a big farm and you've got these roads going all over your farm, but they're not really deeded rights of way or declared rights of way, and you sell a lot and you decide to put a road on one of those, that triggers that road thing.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem with all of that, because the rules aren't completely written yet.
Right.
In fact, but they want to enact the thing in July, but I don't want to.
I understand. But sometimes we have to take these opportunities we got a lot of people listening and they need to hear some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's important because this could have a tremendous, Act 181 and the road rule and all of that becomes effective in July of this year. It's hard to believe.
If they don't stop it.
Or they don't stop it. Now, fortunately, there's a bill that was just in the Senate that hopefully kicks us down the road, but that's got a long ways to go too. So I don't know what's gonna happen, and there aren't a lot of answers, because I've been asking questions of the land use board, and I haven't been getting a lot of answers. I emailed the road rule people, and they didn't get back to me.
That's would have been a hot topic.
Wait a minute, somebody online's got a mic on and they're talking in their house.
It looks like Patrick Jarvis, if you could turn your microphone off, then I have 2 comments.
Yeah, I was coming to you for those.
If the class 4 road is already impassable, what gain is there to the town to reclassify? The town does not maintain this stretch of road, correct? Trail visitors will still be venturing off to get their e-bikes around trees and such. Wouldn't it make more sense to just clear the actual road? And then statement 2, David. With the width of the right of way the same, motion to close the hearing, motion to accept the trail with the noted condition of parking to be addressed by the Keeleys, Beth Hunton, Brian Rosenberg, and Ray at Highway. It was accepted as the CPR back 15 years ago. Dave Fuller, I was there.
I knew who that was as soon as it started.
So I can respond to if we go ahead with this, if you guys bless this trail thing, we're willing to work with whatever group wants to partner with us to help clear the trail. Because we've had our neighbors approach us and say, hey, do you want a hand clearing the trees? Because I want to ride my bike. So I think the clearing the road's the easy part. I think what Ray pointed out, getting the policy and procedures in so we do this right once is what we need to do.
Did you restate
Mr. Fuller's motion, but that you kind of went through it, I couldn't hear it all.
Yeah, no problem. Motion to close the hearing. Motion to accept the trail with the noted condition of parking to be addressed by the Keeleys, Beth Hunton, Brian Bosenberg, and Ray at Highway.
Was that all of the people who were listening to it?
No.
There was one more, that was listed, Sabatis, that's, yes. Any more comments from the board?
I just have one comment. If you have a building lot, the road rule isn't gonna apply to you because it's a driveway, it's not a road.
Right.
So if you have conserved land, but you have one reserved building lot, the road rule isn't gonna apply.
But when I asked that question, I couldn't get a clear answer. So
Well,
that
as far as I understand, it's a driveway, and it doesn't apply to driveways. As long as it's just one house.
It's just one.
If it becomes more than that, then it's something else.
It's been there, it's
If
been.
it's only accessing one house, then it doesn't apply. to
It's been
driveway.
there for 20 years now.
Any more comments or concerns, Greg?
I just wanted to clarify, I'm not trying to muddy this up at all, it is a very simple process. I just think eventually we're gonna wanna get it surveyed, we're gonna wanna develop policy and figure it out going forward. Because there's gonna be a lot more places where people want a trail, or we have trails and they don't equal this. The only thing I'm concerned with is the 118. I haven't had a chance to get out there and measure the actual distance of how much of the road 118 you're changing. I can't look at a map because it stops at a property line, not at an intersection of a road. So I just have to, if you guys are worried about that, I would like to be able to go out there and measure it, or have somebody measure it. So you know what it is you're voting for. How many feet? The state wants to know how many feet you voted to.
It has marked starting and ending points, right, Brian?
Yes, but it doesn't have at the property line, the distance isn't measured. I'm happy to make that measurement and trust mine.
I think that's important to have in your motion when you do this
Measurements.
Yeah, I'm happy with everything and I'm ready to make the motions, but my question is, doesn't statute define the process for reclassifying a road? When Larry did it, it was far more complicated than what we've got in front of us here. Surveying is part of it, perambulating was his favorite word, we used to have to perambulate the road before we could reclassify it. I had looked for reclassification process in the statutes and haven't been 100% successful. I just want to make sure, because we're going to have to change our certificate of highway mileage when we reclassify this. We need those distances, and I want to be sure that we follow state statute and how we're doing this classification. I don't see that here.
So it's right here under 710. So after examining the premises and hearing any interested parties, and if the select board.
I'm gonna stop you right there. After examining the premises, that's what Larry used to call perambulation. You would drag the board out to walk it.
Good luck.
Okay, go ahead.
And if the select board judges that the public good, necessity, and convenience of the inhabitants of the municipality require the highway to be laid out, altered, or reclassified, as claimed in the petition, it shall cause the highway to be surveyed in accordance with the provisions of section 33 of this title if the highway right of way cannot be determined, and shall place suitable monuments to properly mark the bounds of the survey. If the select board decides that this isn't.
So,
it's part of
I'm sorry. Mr. Stapleton is saying that we don't know exactly where it's been a common argument about Crown Point Road since the day we accepted it. That we don't know exactly where it goes. There are some sections that were surveyed and the state accepted those. The rest of it is either in the Army Corps land that we have no control over. The rest of it was anecdotal from Gus Aldridge. And the state accepted that documentation as good enough to put the Crown Point Road on the highway map. But my concern is if we don't feel we know where it belongs, then we need to survey it, and certainly the Bosenberg seem amenable to that idea, but it is at the town's expense.
So my recommendation is to continue the public hearing to the next meeting and schedule a special select board meeting to complete the site examination. And then go from there.
Yeah, that's usually the way it's done.
This segment actually is pretty well defined. There's other ones that are pretty murky. But this one you can actually see a roadbed and kind of follow it, so you might be able to get away with just assuming where the right of way is based on what you see out there in your site with it. But
So
I just
site
want
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
A site visit would help determine, would you be willing to be part of that site visit?
Job.
And we'll coordinate it.
If the select board feels that it, and you're satisfied, you know where it goes, we can skip the survey part and skip right to the motions.
And again, it is pretty clear and straightforward. I just want the board, I'm not doing my job if I don't forewarn you that there will be a high possibility of other segments coming to this board in the future. If you don't have a policy in place, eventually we're gonna have problems. So I'm just throwing that out there. It doesn't have to happen for this.
Well, I think that's important. So, you want, DeForest, you wanna wait on the motion until after the next hearing, or do you wanna move into that now?
I don't know, was I making a motion? What was I gonna
I have
do?
a question, Chair. You're still doing
Let me clarify where I'm at with her for right now at this point in time,
I'm happy with continuing the motion, with scheduling the site visit.
continuing the hearing.
Is that,
Yeah.
did I say that?
Motion.
Sorry, continuing the hearing and scheduling a site visit.
Obviously.
Thank you, August Murray. One of my questions is if the hearings continued, a comment would be, I think we need to be very clear about authorized uses in existence right now, as it stands as a class 4 road, versus exactly what the authorized uses would be after a favorable hearing, just so people are crystal clear who are attending the next hearing. The second thing I would say is the property owner who spoke earlier, he has a right of quiet enjoyment of his property. He is facing extra traffic and parking on his property if this goes forward. I do not know you, sir, but you have a right of quiet enjoyment. And I would say for those who are seeking to change the access, you're basically restricting access in some ways. You're improving other types of access, it seems like. But I would say that you're going to be taking away class 4 access that currently all residents can enjoy. I would suggest that you have the parking on your properties so that you do not take away the rights of your neighbors for their quiet enjoyment and put a burden on them for people to park in their properties. So that's my only comment.
Thank you, sir.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, you may.
Reclassifying this to a trail it's still a public right of way.
Nothing
This is not a private trail across the Clattenburgs and the Bosenbergs hunting property. It's still a public right of way. You're not barring the public from using it at all. Just wanted to make that clear.
Joe, there was a couple more comments that got typed in. I don't know if we want to do that. I'm happy also with continuing this hearing.
And that's where I kind of wanted to get to is because we got a lot of other stuff to do tonight, and if we're going to continue the hearing, people can think about their questions and bring them back at the next one, and we're going to set a site visit for this.
Yeah, we need to continue it to a date and time certain.
Yes, 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 we do.
So I would ask that the board consider continuing it to Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m.
Would it be more prevalent to continue the hearing till after the special election for town meeting coming up? We really need to work on this budget.
That might be better to walk in the woods and drive out in May also.
Yeah. So,
Bad right now. It's really not passable to June or July.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Is that down the ground?
Really rough traffic.
Can we go that far?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, good luck.
Why don't we do June 8th, and we'll have a special meeting in between, we do the site examination.
June 8th,
Yes.
that's a Monday.
So that's the hearing. What about the site visit? We do it before the hearing?
We'll coordinate that in between time.
Cause it'll be late by then. We could schedule a site visit prior to
Right.
Yeah.
reopening the hearing.
Yeah.
If you walk the entire bit, you're gonna need at least probably an hour and a half.
I can say 2 miles, we're gonna need food.
boy, this is turned into a planning commission.
Okay, so, I need a motion to continue the hearing, to 6/8/26. Mark Memorial Hall at 6:30. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the motion to continue the hearing? The only thing I would say is, yes, let's get figure out the dates on the site visit, get that done. If there are any legal things that we needed to look into in the meantime, get that done. And let's start thinking about scheduling the discussion on the policy. So we can wrap a lot of this stuff up. I'm saying that because I think it's important that if we're gonna make all of the roads the same. Is that gonna mean there's changes to the proposed petition for what they're asking at the class 1 level? I'm just throwing that out there as. Because if we're gonna do them all, we wanna make sure we cover how that's gonna look for all. So, those are my comments on that. We're in discussion on the motion.
Yep. I just would like also to have any citizen out there that has any questions or comments to get those in writing prior to the continuation of the hearing to make sure that you're heard on all of it. A lot of time to think about things.
Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, the motion on the floor to continue the hearing to Monday, June 8th, 2026 at Martin Memorial Hall at 6:30. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries its unanimous. Thank you. So that will be that part.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all. All right, now I gotta find my way.
Number 8, but any update?
I'm gonna give us just a couple minutes for the room to clear. Back to where. Thank you. Okay. Couple minutes is up, it's gotta be. Item 8, budget committee update, Dr. August Murray.
Good evening, Chair, Select Board, everyone. The Budget Committee met and reorganized on Tuesday, March 17th, last week. We met for 2.5 hours. We also made sure that all comments from public present and on Zoom were able to be heard. So we had a good meeting. The recording is posted on the town's YouTube channel. At this meeting, the town manager and highway department superintendent, they joined us to present their budgets and field questions from the committee and the public. So I thank both Mr. Stapleton and Mr. Gold. On the highway department budget, as you know, that budget barely failed. And the proposed highway budget reflects approximately 2.2% increase over the prior year. There are many favorable comments about the highway department's current budget level being at 2.2%. The committee did not take any motions or make recommendations on that portion of the overall town budget at this meeting. However, on the general fund budget, there was more extensive discussion and public comment feedback. The committee, after hearing public feedback, did vote to make a recommendation to you that the general fund budget not exceed a 2.8% increase. 2.8%, as you well know, is the national COLA index rate increase. Next, we discussed capital plan articles. After discussion and public input, the committee did vote to make another recommendation, and that vote carried. It was that the previously rejected capital plan articles not be reintroduced before the voters. The committee's position is that these failed articles were already decided by the voters, and that reintroducing substantially similar proposals, even at different funding levels, would be inconsistent with the voters' decision. In terms of additional discussion, the committee and public discussed some impacts of rising personnel costs, including wages and benefits. We've noted that the town's employees' wages and benefits are significantly outpacing the 2.8% cost of living benchmark this year. And we also had discussion, but not a vote or not motions, on the overall town tax rate, and a potential target tax rate of 5% was discussed, but not voted upon. And just as a refresher, the budget committee is strictly advisory. All we do is receive feedback, give you feedback, and give you our best recommendations. So the committee will schedule another meeting
And we decided that we would seek feedback from you tonight, just to review the timeline that you have for the budget. And then we'll immediately schedule another meeting when the town manager is ready. And we can put the word out tonight or tomorrow. We'll also do our very best to make sure the public is aware when that meeting will occur. I think we had about 25 or 30 total folks attend. And so other than that, I want to mention that we have a couple other budget committee members present. So he is here. Chris is back. We also had Mike. Oh, you're not on the budget door.
Beth is.
Beth is not. She was last year.
Not this year? Oh.
You should be. And then I think I'm missing one person. Wayne could not be here tonight. He had other obligations. So I don't know if any of the budget committee members had any comments or updates they'd like to share. Okay. So I'll wait for any questions.
Any questions from the board? At this time, any questions from the public for the budget committee? There you go. Well, Chris is another budget committee member.
I was kind of directed, I wasn't sworn in, so I wasn't actually, I listened to it on Zoom, but I couldn't get my mind.
Yeah, Chris didn't participate in the votes.
So I didn't, and it's like, I gotta say is myself, not speaking for the budget committee. I support the capital plan. I'd rather know what I'm paying now than have the suppliers later. That's just my own personal thing. It's like, with that going through, I think it's substantially different than what was put on for the articles before for the fire department and the highway. We're talking about a 10-year term, not a 20-year term. And we cut the numbers significantly. I would have rather had somebody tell us we were going to pay them 30 cents more for fuel last week than we paid 90 cents more today. And with the budget, yeah, it makes taxes go up. I don't like them. I get 5 tax bills a year. You get a bunch. Everybody gets tax bills. But if you know what you're going to pay, because when we don't replace a piece of equipment, that might be $1 million. When you need the money and you got to go borrow the money, and that piece of equipment now is lost value of the terminate piece because it's older, and because that new piece is now, instead of 1 million, it's 1.3 million. We're going to lose.
Could we bring the remainder of this discussion into the actual budget discussion? Because this is actually just a presentation.
I'm
the budget committee at this time. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, and I do have a comment when we get to the capital plan discussion. I've got to help everything. Okay. Thank you, Chair.
I try not to cut people off right away, but
No, I was
I'm trying to keep us in the lane. Okay, so there was no other questions for budget committee? That moves us to number 9, the special town meeting discussion. Timeline A. That's you, right?
All right, so our timeline, we had a budget committee meeting on 3/17, as Dr. Murray just stated. We received public input and recommendations on revision goals. We're having a select board meeting tonight to discuss the revised budget and some of our recommendations. I would recommend that the budget committee meet between 3:24 and 4:03 to review the revised budget and determine whether to support the FY27 revised budget. I would anticipate a special select board meeting on 4/7 to review the final revised budget and approve the final special town meeting warning.
Does it have to be that night?
It does not have to be that night.
That's the night schools have theirs.
I see. Okay. So we can change that date. I would recommend mailing the FY27 revised budget with a narrative by 4/10/26, holding an informational special town meeting on 5/2/26, and then holding voting at Martin Memorial Hall on 5/5/26.
I'm sorry, what was the one right before that, next to the last you said was?
The informational special?
The info, and what night was that?
Saturday, 5/2/26 at 12:30 PM.
So the special meeting on the 7th doesn't work, you just wanna move it to Wednesday or?
Yeah.
I would prefer not to do Thursday, but
Let's move it to the 8th.
just move it over a day.
Yep.
That work, Kel?
That works.
I don't wanna lose track of that either. Okay.
Is everybody okay with that timeline? All right.
Yep. B, FY 27 general fund budget.
Okay. So the original the original proposal presented to the town did include a 4.2% increase to the general fund budget, resulting in a total projected tax rate increase of 4.77% for the general fund. At the budget committee meeting held on March 17th, feedback from the committee and members of the public indicated a preference to reduce the overall increase to 2.8%. In response, we conducted a detailed review of each budget within the general fund and implemented targeted reductions. As reflected in the FY 27 revised general fund budget, the updated proposal includes a 2.8% increase in the general fund with a corresponding total tax increase of 2.05%. The FY 27 revised highway fund budget, the original proposal we presented was 2.2%. And that was a 2.2% increase to the highway fund budget. However, on the other side of that was a projected tax rate increase of 8.57%. The reason for that is in FY 26, we used $102,500 of fund balance. So what happens when you use fund balance to offset taxes is you create a gap in revenue for the following year. And that's the gap that we have to close in the highway department budget because we don't have $102,500 in cumulative fund balance. So we have to make up the difference. So although the budget itself was 2.2% increase, the tax rate increase is different. Following discussion of the budget committee and input from the public, revisions were made to reduce the overall tax impact. Because like budget committee chair was just saying, they had a target tax rate increase of 5% overall. They did not make a vote to do that. I specifically asked to see if I could make that work without significantly interrupting town services. So we did a detailed review of the highway fund budget, and adjustments were implemented to lower the tax need down to 7.15%. That's not the cumulative tax need, that's just for the highway department. A significant driver of the increase, like I was just saying, was the fund balance. So what we did was this proposal reduces the highway department budget down to 1.48%. So what's the FY 27 cumulative tax need? So despite reducing the FY 27 revised general fund budget to 2.8% overall, bottom line, with a corresponding tax need of 2.05%, and reducing the highway fund budget down to a 1.48% increase, the town of Weathersfield voters approved several special articles on March 3rd of 2026. So although some of the budgets failed, some of the articles actually did pass. So absent these special articles, the combined tax need increase for the general fund and highway fund would have been 3.88%. So if there were no special articles, the tax need to operate the general fund and the highway fund would be 3.88%. However, voters approved the following appropriations: $20,000 for Hoisington Field improvements, $10,000 for the Bowen Hill culvert, $26.83 for healthcare and rehabilitative services, $1,500 for Southeastern Vermont Community Action, $750 for Vermont Association of the Blind, and $10,500 for the Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice for Vermont and New Hampshire. So what this did was these approved articles increased the overall tax need by an additional 1.86%, resulting in a total cumulative FY 27 tax need increase of 5.74%. That's where we're at with our proposal right now. This equates to an estimated increase of $45 per $100,000 of property value, or approximately $3.75 per month. So per $100,000 of property value, this proposal would increase your taxes by $3.75 per month. The average property value in the town of Weathersfield is $213,577.99. So this represents an estimated annual increase of $95.47 for the average property value, or $7.96 per month.
Any questions? Anybody in the audience have any questions? Yes, ma'am. So Lisa, sorry, I didn't quite see you. You saw a hand.
So I don't know when I should ask this question, because I know there's gonna be a lot more discussion on the proposed budget, revised budget, whatever we're calling it tonight. But, and I emailed the town clerk this morning, but she didn't have a chance to get back to me, obviously, but weren't 2 new listers elected, for voting?
Yep.
So they start on July 1st? Is that the way that works, or when do they start working?
They should come into the town clerk's office and take their oath. I'm not sure if the town clerk is going to contact them or not.
And are they paid positions like the current lister?
So we have an assessor. We contract out to Nemrick to handle the day-to-day activities of the listers department. We do have a budget set for listers at, I believe, right around $11,000. We also have a reappraisal reserve account with roughly $350,000 in it. So right now we're in reappraisal. So some of our funding that we're using for listers comes out of our reserve fund. And that reserve fund has a balance of actually $275,319. We've expended $58,000 in FY26 for the reappraisal. So we have a starting balance of 302.
So the way I thought when I was reading across the listers portion, the budget, I thought it looked like payroll for listers was like 13,000 something. So that's not gonna triple now that we have 3?
No.
Why?
They share it.
So 3 of them together only get $13,000, and but last year or the year before that, it was like 11,000, and we've only had one for several years.
Yeah, so the listers budget in the past, they didn't have a professional appointed assessor. And now the town uses an assessor for the day-to-day operations of the listers department. So the amount of work required is within that $11,000 to $13,000 range. The board of listers will result in a board of listers to deal with grievances and hold meetings. But we have an appointed assessor that, again, is certified and handles the day-to-day operations of the department.
Any other questions? Jacob?
Jacob Chase, I'm one of them listers, Lisa, and I didn't know it was a paid position. I don't know anything about that. I don't want to be paid. I have no intention of taking any money for that. Take it out of the budget, whatever you need to do there. That's basically all I wanted to say and sign my name here, so.
Thanks, Jacob. And I'll be in touch. I think I did
get sworn in, I saw Luann. I don't know anything more than that.
I'll be in contact with you more.
No further questions on general fund budget? Well, are we in discussion on the budget or only questions at this point? We're in discussion on the budget.
So, the special articles that went through,
That's not what we're on. Oh, I'm sorry.
general
Go ahead.
fund, highway, all of
Go
it
ahead.
is.
My phone.
You know, those aren't able to be in the budget, you know, because they were they were voted in on. One thing that we talked about during my time period on the budget committee, was having some sort of policy or something put in place where we could cap the amount that goes out there. So we can actually budget for that. So right now, we're looking at almost a 2% increase just because of the articles that go through on that. And we had a recommendation that came through from the budget committee of 2.8%. I would like to see 2.8% cumulatively, including those special articles.
Well, those special articles already been adopted.
Right, no, I'm saying, So they're in there, they're baked in, it's going there.
Yeah, they're done.
The town overwhelmingly said no. To the budget. So I kind of see it as our responsibility to find every percentage that we can get to get it through there. You know, but those were in there, so we gotta bake those into our overall recommendations. Now, for a little bit of clarification from the chair of the budget committee, if I may. And coming up, but need to.
No, I was going there next anyway.
Was that 2.8% increase, was that total budget? Or does that include the special articles?
That was only specific to the general fund. And we did not vote on a total overall tax rate increase. And I think that the town manager at our next meeting, and I appreciate giving us a date range, we'll be able to see what he comes up with. But to your point, I am fairly certain that if you looked at the last 5 years of budgets and you looked at where $47,000, like I could find one place right off the bat where you could cut $47,000 that didn't used to be there. So I'm fairly certain, to his point, that that's an option for the select board to consider. The budget committee will take all feedback guidance, that you have. We'll do our best job to review it, get public comment, and then come back to it. And I think at our next meeting, when we see his detailed breakdown by line of the budget, if that's what the select board advises or the public gives us comment on, we can look at that. $47,000 could be cut.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, August. That pretty much covered the question I was gonna ask. Any other questions from the board on general fund?
So I do want to say the cumulative budget increase is 2.8%, Joe, for the general fund. And 1.48% for the highway fund. So we've already met that 2.8%.
Right, but you're not including in the special articles that went through.
That's not general fund budget.
Where does that money come from?
Huh?
Where's that money come from then?
So it comes from, it's not in the general fund, it's not in the highway fund, those are special.
We have a special leprechaun that we can pull money out of as pot of gold?
Well, I think
separate
the
from
point the town manager is trying to make is he sets a budget. And then there are special articles, and those special articles add to that budget.
Right.
So we do that every single year, whether we're buying a truck or, well, we have in the past, fire truck, dump truck, grader, whatever it is. The budget's over here and the articles are over here. They're two separate things. And when you vote on those, you are voting to add that to the budget. And that's already happened for these. So that's why we really should. I know that's there. And I don't want to say it's not what you're bringing up for a point isn't real. It's very valid. That money's already there. It's already spent.
Yeah, it's already.
They already said, do it. So, but 2.8 and 1.48 those are pretty low numbers. For a budget, to operate this town nowadays.
Want to move on to the capital?
I do, unless nothing else?
Thank you for answering the question, sir.
Yes, yes, so, C, highway fund budget,
We just
we just did, so capital plan and special articles, thank you.
So revised capital plans were distributed to the budget committee for review. These revised capital plans reduce the highway fund down to, let me just go down here real quick. So this reduced the fire apparatus replacement plan from 100,000 down to 95,000. This really was, 75,000. This really was the least amount that we could contribute and still replace all of our capital equipment without paying over $2 million in interest over 20 years. So this plan changed that from 20 years to 10 years and then reduced the contribution and then replaced our fire apparatus in cash. And it would save the town hundreds of thousands of dollars over the 10 years. But it would require a $75,000 special article at town meeting. So the first year you would see a spike. But if you look at this chart here, the blue is the pattern that the town has been doing for a long time. So that's borrowing money and sending taxpayer dollars out to the bank, and we don't really get anything for it. What we do get is annual payment of principal and interest. The orange reflects stability, and that's why we propose these capital plans initially. And if you look at the chart, the orange shows that that's a tax rate, so that the tax rate is stable for 10 years. But when you borrow money, you add payments. You add a principal payment, you add an interest payment, and they overlap at times. So if you look at FY31, you're going to see a significant difference than not doing the capital plan. So that's how much more the town's going to spend. And then in FY34, it starts to dip off. And then boom, in FY37, it spikes right back up, reflecting instability in the tax rate. Similarly, for the highway department, it's the same. So we reduced the contribution from 292,000 down to 150,000, and this still replaces. It changed the replacement time from 5 years to 7 years. So we extended equipment out 2 additional years, and then we reduced it from a 20-year plan to a 10-year plan, and then reduced the amount from 292,000 to 150,000. This plan would also save the town hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest payments, and then we would also collect money on our reserve account that has money in it, so that they can be paying the town interest rather than the town paying the bank interest. Similarly with this capital plan, you can see total loans in blue, and then you can see the orange line. What a capital plan does is it brings stability to the town long term. So you can see that orange line there, it's straight. That's stability. The blue is borrowing money that reflects instability. The goal of the capital plan was to bring stability. So just going back to the top here, the original proposal required a 292 contribution. What would this done? So that would increase the per $100,000 of property value to $87 per $100,000 of property value, or about $7.25 per month. When we reduced it down, the average property value would be $185 per year for this capital plan. Under the revised proposal, it decreased that from $87 per 100,000 of property value down to $45 per 100,000. So for the average property in Weathersfield, it reflects roughly $95 per year, or $7.96 per month. That is an initial. That is an increase in taxes the first year, but then it's stability for 10 years. Whereas the other side of things, it's in your tax rates going up and down, up and down, up and down. But anyway, so I did propose that to the budget committee, and then I did hear what the budget committee had to say about the plan, that it is a large increase in the first year. So what we did was we went back to the drawing board, and we have several pieces of equipment. One at the fire department is our brush truck. That brush truck had to be pushed into the fire department last week because it's just that old. If you look at like our replacement schedule, we have maxed out the useful life for a lot of this equipment, and I'm going to turn to the replacement schedule here. So so it's recommended that you replace these trucks every 25 years. We're stretching these trucks out to 30 years already. We've already added 5 years onto the replacement of these trucks. I heard a comment in the past that we're looking to buy shiny new things. That's not the case whatsoever. We're maxing these things out for 30 years. And if there comes a point where you're paying more money to repair these things, then it is just the maintenance on these trucks that I've seen this year and last year is insane. And then when you have a truck out of the fleet, it causes issues with the department.
So these departments aren't operating as efficiently as they should. So this brush truck, excuse me, this forestry truck needs to be replaced. So what we did is we created a scenario to where we would finance, where we would finance this forestry truck and the two trucks that we have at the highway department. The forestry truck, 20 years old. We're looking at replacing it with a used truck. This was always in our capital plan to buy this truck used. And the estimated cost is roughly $131,325. Following the purchase and upfitting of the rescue truck, which we also just recently purchased used, we have around 105,000 in the fire apparatus reserve fund. To balance the use of reserves while maintaining financial stability, so we kind of looked at like the middle ground where we would use some reserve funds and then borrow some of the money to replace this truck. We would ask for a special article to finance 50% of the replacement cost, resulting in a loan amount of $65,662.50 over a 5-year term. So based on current interest rates, the estimated loan amortization is here on the screen. So you have a principal payment, you have an interest payment, and then you have a total payment. You can see on the right hand side there the balance, obviously maturing at $132. The second special articles that we would ask for, we have a highway department with a 15-year-old Penwell dump truck and a 9-year-old pickup truck, both of which have reached a point where replacement is necessary. These were also in the capital plan, replacing cash, avoiding interest. Without moving forward with that, we would similarly request a special article to borrow. And maybe we have to replace them, but just look at the interest, just on these alone, we're going to send $12,100 out of our town and pay it to the bank in interest units. Over the term of the 5 years, it's almost $50,000 that we could be utilizing in the town. That was the goal of the capital plan, was to keep taxpayer dollars in the town. But again, we have $173,000 in our reserve fund right now. So to balance the use of available reserves while maintaining long-term financial stability, we're proposing a special article to finance $220,000 over a 5-year term. Based on current interest rates, amortization schedule would be here. So what you wouldn't see is a payment in this year's budget. You would see it in next year's budget. That's how it works. So there would be no increase with these special articles this year, but it's important to note that next year you would see a $56,100 payment for this one, and then a $16,661 payment for the brush vehicle. This does use a lot of our reserve funds. So future replacements of this equipment we're starting to borrow 100%. We'll be depleting our reserve funds. That's all that.
What's that?
Mr. Chair, there was a text question online.
Yeah, they're gonna have to wait just 1 second. And I will get to them. Who is it?
It was a typed one. I saw it pop up in a bubble.
Okay. So you may have sort of started to get to what this question addresses. When you were showing the charts up there and the bouncy wave and the would it help to show on the like with those charts to show us what you've done here, the dates where they line up on the chart, and we're purchasing something and how much we're spending at that point to do that. So to Susan's point, show us the story, make it clear what we're, that in 2028 we're buying this and it's going to be this much. And
well, I already have the data because I used that data to create this chart.
Yes,
so I can just
show you guys the work.
Just so like a plug, you don't have to do it right now.
I'm checking the comment.
Oh, okay. And one other thing I wanna throw out as you're heading for that. Your last point that you just made was $50,000 in interest paid over the 10 years?
No, that's just that one loan.
That's just that.
The town's gonna need multiple loans over the 10-year course in order to replace its equipment.
What was the total interest paid over 10 years? This is really important. It just got better. Just got even better. Cause I only used 50,000 as interest paid, but with the capital plan, there's, I think 64 or 68,000 that we earned.
Yes.
Money in the bank. That would be $118,000 swing that buys a pickup truck and a police cruiser.
That's exactly what we were doing with the capital plan, is we were getting the bank to pay the town interest on the money that we have in our reserve funds. And then we were no longer paying interest to the bank and sending the funds to them.
Right.
Yes, it's an initial first year jump, but that first year jump is an investment for 10 years into the future. It reflects stability in the town. So this new plan, the first plan was the best. It saved there was $2.7 million between interest savings and interest earnings. That got voted down. It was a sharp increase in taxes, so we reduced the plan down to 10 years. This plan still saves taxpayers around $1 million through avoided interest payments and interest earnings. That's just for the fire department. Oh, excuse me, that was the first one, I'm sorry. The updated one still saves $305,000. So the first one saved over $1 million over 20 years. The updated one will still save $305,000 in interest payments while earning $68,000 in interest income. The highway department one.
We need music.
The highway department one will still earn save $335,000 in interest payments while earning about $43,000 in interest income. So collectively, you're getting close to saving around $1 million. But again, there's that first year tax impact, which I understand from the budget committee. And I think the budget committee had also said something like, there's not enough public awareness about this. Let's take a year. Let's think about it. Let's talk about it some more. Which we did hold public hearings here. We did hold several select board meetings. But again, it wasn't until that first everybody saw it and there wasn't enough information right at that time, although it was online. And so I do understand that point is getting more public awareness about this over the course of a year. But I will say that every time, so by pushing it out a year and borrowing, we extend our long-term debt. And then to stack, several $100,000 to move into a capital plan on top of newly acquired interest and principal payments, it's going to make it harder and harder every year to actually make the initial jump into a capital plan.
Yeah, those numbers and that path is not going to change. It's going to be it's going to hurt to make that, and probably more the more you wait.
And when you have cash in the bank, you have negotiating power that you don't have when you're borrowing. You're sort of at their mercy. So we bought that rescue truck, and that's a really good example of having negotiating power. It was advertised, I think, at 150-ish, and I believe we sent an offer for 120,000 cash in the budget. So boom, 30,000. It's moments like that where you can save taxpayer dollars, but being at the mercy of the bank, you're not able to make moves like that.
Was there a comment you were going to read, or?
Yes, something, I can read.
You got sidetracked.
Well, we got dragged back, that's the fault.
Your fault.
Trying to keep this moving in that, in order is best I can. And then I got Dr. Artis Marine. The check I wrote.
In the future, it would be amazing to have the projections on the Zoom somehow, so we can see all the information that's being presented. Naomi, if you go to the Weathersfield Selectboard page, I can put it in the chat, and you can actually pull up the plans right on your computer.
So you're handling that conversation now, and that's all set?
I'm gonna send her the packet.
Okay, so I can move on, Dr. Artis Marine.
Thank you. I have a couple points and I'll keep them focused and on target. For both procedural and practical. The procedural is a little bit shorter. I've read the VLCT's guidance for municipal noticing of articles and also noticing of budgets. They have guidance which we're not following and we need to. When the taxpayers have to commit to a capital plan for a duration of 5 or longer years, very specific wording has to be included. It's one of the reasons why it was a no vote, and we discussed it very briefly at the last budget meeting. The citizens, the residents, the voters have to approve capital planning over 5 years, and specific language has to be posted when they make that choice on the ballot. And so I can help the town manager, I can show him what I found. And what I would say is, although we had, I think, some fairly decent consensus that there was not a lot of public awareness, we didn't have a lot of people going to meetings. After the budget was voted down, they did start coming to meetings. So I do think you need a longer term roadshow to market, capital planning and make sure people understand what it is. Make sure the voters are ones making the decision for something that obligates funds over 5 FYs. So that's a procedural thing. So it would be completely out of order to reintroduce capital plan articles, not just for that reason, but also because 62% of the voters said no. So when you procedurally introduce something the same way, even if it's a different amount, it's just not advisable. And that's VLCT's guidance too, the League of Cities and Towns. Also procedurally, you can warn and introduce special articles, for, now, if it's to pay for the same thing you want to pay with the capital plan, that's frowned upon too. That's your option. And so this leads me to the practical piece. When we looked at the budget committee, and we were open and supportive of a special article for stipends for firefighters, and the town very strongly supported that. I think it was over 70% voted for that 80,000. Part of that whole process and movement to a municipal consolidated fire department with 2 stations, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, was that there would be efficiencies gained with not requiring as much training or as many equipment sets. And there may also be efficiencies gained with co-use of certain equipment. I think it would be very helpful from an educational standpoint for the public to know. I think that was the one, was that the one budget, which was the one that got approved?
Transfer station.
The transfer station budget was approved. So on the fire department, I think it'd be helpful for people to know what efficiencies are being gained from before versus now in the proposed budget. And so I think that's an important talking point, because do we absolutely require to purchase this piece of equipment this year? Same thing goes for the highway department. Do we absolutely, is the sky going to fall if we don't increase our budgets and purchase the equipment? So that's just something to think about before you do a special article as the select board deliberates. And of course, we can discuss it publicly at the next budget meeting. So from a practical standpoint, the voters were very adamant that they did not want the large budget increases. And so that's what the special articles are there for. So that's just a little bit of feedback as we go forward that capital planning, we've got to be very transparent with voters, know exactly what they're voting for. The article has to be worded with specific language. And so I just would ask the select board to use your wisdom and judgment before introducing new special articles that would achieve the same thing.
I apologize, the articles that you had proposed that would be separate articles to purchase equipment with finance? What was the difference in the cost of doing that and the new proposal for the?
$0 this year because the first payment isn't until next year.
Okay, so yeah, so it wouldn't hit us, but then but that cost would be how, I mean, if you actually did look at those two numbers, how close are they? You understand the question?
No, I'm not understanding.
But okay, so if you've got three articles, like truck for Ray, two trucks for Ray and one for the fire department, and we're gonna buy those this year, what's that total cost compared to the numbers you gave us for the capital plans?
So because we're borrowing, the next payment wouldn't be until the FY 28 budget. So you're not gonna see it now, you're gonna see it later.
Right,
Okay.
but how much? But if you put what to Mike's point. Sophia Law should pay, right?
Yes, thank you.
You put what Mike is saying, so we have 0 right now, we have an extra, it's gonna cost us X amount this year. If we have the chart line by line, so this year we have an extra expenditure that is reduced from what it was originally voted down on. But next year, if we don't use the capital plan, we're gonna have to pay X amount. If we do use the capital amount, we're gonna be saving X amount. So it would be very helpful to have it year by year.
It's in the chart, but
I know it's in the chart, but
I have the
it's,
physical data upstairs, I can send it out and put it in the next batch.
but it would be very helpful to everyone, because it tells what. I will say that listening to your presentation today, I feel like it's way clearer to me how much money it's gonna save, but it will be very helpful for all of us, even the budget committee, to see 27, 26, 27, 28, like, so that we see all the years line by line.
Yeah, so it's no problem, I can give it to the budget committee at the next meeting.
Okay.
It's already created, so.
Okay.
Because the data was.
But I think it would help the whole conversation.
And I know that we don't see the payment on an article to purchase a truck until next year. But so I'll try to phrase it this way. If I put 3 articles on the warning that total $750,000, and I go with a capital plan, and the capital plan is $1 million, I can look at it and say, hey, it's $250,000 difference between these articles. And so what is that? What is that? That's what I'm looking for.
So the difference, Mike, now that I understand your question, I can answer that right now. So we're asking for 150,000 to fund the capital plan. We're asking to borrow. Excuse me, we're asking 75,000 to fund the fire department capital plan. And now we're asking for 65,000 borrow. So there's a $10,000 difference in that. And then the highway department. The highway department, we were asking for 150,000, we're looking to borrow 220,000.
So when you add them all up, purchasing with interest or purchasing and using the bank it's a lot more money anyway.
Well, I mean, it's just as simple as looking at, should we buy this outright and pay 0% interest? Or should we buy this with a loan and pay interest? It's just that simple.
We have different ways of looking at simple. It's all.
We could also count in. How much are we looking at for repairs? If we went down that road?
That's right.
That's why the replacement schedule became important. Because right now, Ray, can you?
I've heard Ray's spiel, not spiel, but the presentation on it quite a bit. I think it'd just be nice to kind of just consider that as well as we're looking at this. I get the capital planning and where it comes from, everything behind it, the interest savings, that, you know, the math is the math on that. However, do we need to replace everything right away, or can there be a little bit more blood squeezed out of that rock perhaps? And let me know where that rock is, because I'd like to squeeze it a little, you know.
It's not replacing everything right away. So like the replacement schedule shows the replacement date. So like FY 27, you have 2 trucks. FY 28, you have a grader. FY 29, you have a 10-wheel dump truck. FY 30, you've got another 10-wheel dump truck. FY 31, you have a loader rebuild, a 6-wheel dump truck. FY 32, you have a tractor replacement. So every year you have these big pieces of equipment that need to be replaced. So when we did the analysis to develop the capital plan, all of that was forecasted into the future. And all of it is being replaced on a schedule to prevent highway department from exceeding their repair budget. I mean, the repair budget is grown this year. And the fire department and the highway department, because we have aging trucks.
Well, I know how fast repairs can add up quick. I mean, I work in that industry.
Yeah.
They can explode on you extremely fast. So I understand. I'm just.
And we're in the middle of an explosion currently.
And any squeezing you do on that rock that you're talking about complicates the process further down the road to get into, Brad?
You've been here for a while.
I'm sorry.
I'm going back and forth. Should there be like an inventory? Do we need it? And I'm not trying to create problems for you, right, or anything, but go out there with digital cameras, start taking the pictures of, okay, I got a hole here, the brakes are shot here, and just prove to everybody. You know, I had to call my brother's on the fire department. I'm like, what's a brush truck? Well, I texted him while we're sitting. It's a 4x4 truck that I didn't know. I'm thinking, when you go out and clear brush with it, it's a 4x4 Dodge that we go to 90% of the calls with.
I just want to make sure that wasn't Josh, right?
Yeah. But just again, can we squeeze more life out of it? Show us. I voted for all of this. I'm not complaining about the cost at all. It's money that's going to be well spent. I'm not questioning that. But do we have to take and go down and say, okay, this truck's 10 years old. This is what's wrong with it. This is what we had to spend on repairing it last year. Just so that we can prove to everybody that this equipment needs to be replaced.
Thank you. Actually Beth had her hand up over there as well.
Thank you, Russell. I would encourage, I don't know where we are on the agenda, you're just taking comments, you're not voting on anything tonight, right?
No.
Okay, I just wanna say I'm really in favor of this capital plan. I don't agree with August, I think we should reintroduce it, it's different, it's at a lower rate. And it's a different vote. I love numbers and I think the problem is salesmanship job. It's a communication problem, it's not a number problem, this is save the town money. This is a communication problem, I'm hoping you'll take Susan Wilder. But up on that. And I'm just really in favor of it, and I think you actually squeezed too much out of the highway fund, not the capital fund. It's actually a reduction. And then lastly, does the town do anything to advertise property tax credit to the citizens?
Because I've done math on this and I volunteer as a tax aide, as a senior center, and I do a lot of property tax claims for people. And if you go to, there's an online calculator on the Department of Vermont Taxes. And pretty much now it's income, there's an income threshold. It's pretty low, but I think it's 100. It's a complicated formula, but every time I go to that calculator, you increase the taxes, your rebate goes up. So for people who are really hurting in this community, there's very little impact for them. It may not help anybody in this room, but it's gonna help people that are really hurting and having so if there's an outreach that can be done, you know, deadline's April 15th. I'm happy to help with that. Thank you, Beth. Sure.
Susan. Right in front of you here.
Supervisor Evansville, I have thought too late that we should be having some house parties possibly with select people coming, very showing up, people there to talk to citizens, neighbors, about what will be going on a town and a school budget in the future. So, and there are people who said, oh, I like that idea. I would support a house party. So I think we could meet in smaller groups where people can ask the questions and we can get our neighbors to sit down and listen to what we're hearing tonight, which has been very helpful. And it's meant that we didn't walk out early. I just need to know. Thank you.
Another thing that we could do is actually bring the equipment that we're proposing to replace to town meeting or to the Martin Memorial Hall parking lot, so everybody can visually see what we're trying to replace.
And you get the kids there, we could find them.
Mr. Chair, you still have somebody online that's been waiting for a while?
Well, so's Ray. Yeah, so I'm gonna,
I'd rather have all the questions, I can answer it honestly.
Okay, so who do we have up there in the
I
top?
can't read it. Starts with an A, but I can't read what it is.
It's Paul Chaffee.
Hi, Paul.
Paul Chaffee from Perkinsville. I'm using my wife's computer. That's why it says Angel. So I'm a numbers guy and I'm getting lost in all the detail. You folks that are in charge of the departments, like Ray and like Brandon, you know what you need to do the job that the town expects you to do. So as Susan and I think it was Beth that was chatting just a minute ago, I think it's a communication issue, not a dollars issue. I think a real brief flyer that says we've looked at all the options, we've had committees, we've had budget committees, a lot of meetings, we've come up with the best plan for the town. This is what it means for the average household, average price of your house, what the tax, what the dollars per year increase is going to mean. And if the wording on the articles need to be changed to comply with whatever the regulations are, then that's fine. But I think, you know, you can't cut too much. People are gonna need the services. You guys know what you're doing. We need to just show people that you've done the research, and tell them that this is the best plan that we have. And we reduced it some, and here's the reasons why it's going to work. And if Susan can help with a flyer that will touch people in the right way, then go for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And Susan, I'd also like it if you know what Beth is talking about, what is that, HS 144 or something like that?
Yeah, it's the property tax credit claim.
Right.
Yeah, and it's pretty, I mean, I see what people get back. They'll get $1,200, $2,000 credited towards the property tax.
And that would be important, I think, to include in this whole thing, that people get that out there.
I'm familiar with that in other places, but I didn't know Vermont.
Yeah, it has, Yeah, you have, it has to be your homestead, it can't be like a business.
Yeah.
And it's sliding scale based on your income.
I just went through that and I'm trying to remember what that number was. Is it like 115,000?
115, but it's a sliding scale and it,
And that's for a single person.
Yeah.
115,000?
yeah, it's based on your property tax, yeah. But it's household income and they count everything. Like everything.
That's what I was looking at, is I thought it was 115,000 for a single owner, and then it went, and then it went up. But I forget what it will,
Yeah.
what that number went up to, like on a joint return type thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. We all set with this topic for this evening? This has been a great discussion.
I have a question. I thought Ray was gonna go, but can I ask a question?
Well, you're kind of jumping the poor guy in front of you, but
Who's that?
he had it, he was.
Who's that? Oh, go ahead.
Paul Austin Perkinsville. I'll just say that I was lucky enough to be at the town meeting and hear Brandon and Ray's and the fire department presentation on this. And I know that you did a whole lot more work and know a whole lot more about this than I do. And I was very impressed with the presentation. I buy a car and I keep it for 12 years and I do all my work on my own car. But that doesn't mean that that's the best way to run a town. Thank you.
Rick.
No, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa. You're gonna Lisa now. Then Ray, then we're gonna wrap this up for tonight.
So if the capital plan articles would have passed, so I'll use the fire department, that was $100,000, I think, right?
Yeah.
So if that would have passed, that $100,000 would have been put in there, and then basically, if they need this truck, that 100,000 would have been used rather quickly to purchase the truck for the replacement that's broke down.
Yeah, that's what it's for, is to replace.
So if the capital plan goes, then it won't. Individual vehicles or whatever won't go before the voters, like you're not gonna just have a pool of money, like the reserve account has a pool of money. And then an article would go before the voters to buy a new vehicle at the next town meeting.
So the money goes into a reserve account, similar to what the town's been doing for a while, it's just been underfunding it. So they put like 33,000, they usually stick a penny into the reserve account. Consistent with the replacement of like the rescue truck, or police vehicles. The select board receives a proposal, we send out an advertisement for bid on large pieces of equipment. And the select board holds a in public meeting to discuss the replacement of the truck and then which truck purchase, select board votes to approve it. And then we move forward.
So, and then as proposed, we've talked about if these other two articles go on, then there's no payment due in FY 27 for the newly acquired vehicles, if they're newly acquired vehicles. But what people have to keep in mind, there's gonna be a $72,000 combined payment in FY 28, plus probably 2 articles for the capital plan.
Or 2 more articles to borrow.
Yeah, so.
Exactly. Jacob, last one, then I'm going to Ray.
Just a quick comment, I believe August had mentioned that the wages or salaries of town employees have gone up significantly more than COLA. I just wanted to say maybe that money would have been better used on this equipment that we so desperately are in need of, so that's all.
You need people to run the equipment.
Rick.
Ray. Oh, just going to answer. Trying to answer Joe's question about getting more time out of these trucks. I dropped the 2016 to a Ford garage. I wanted to get the trade-in value for Brandon for this whole plan. I was hoping it's gonna be worth, $8,000 to $10,000. Trade-in right now is about $2,000 to $2,500. Outright sale, obviously more. I probably need to get 5,000 or 6,000 out of it. Right now, to get that truck mechanically in order and services done on it is $6,505.40. And that's not counting the body work. The body itself would be just taking the bed off, putting a general flatbed on it is $6,200 if I break it somewhere and buy one. we can try to build it at the shop, but then I've got 2 to 3 weeks of a couple of guys not working on roads. So, we can always, it always is cheaper to try to do it at the shop, but it does cost. It does cost, it is costly.
So when you get done, you still got a truck that's worth about $2,000 to $5,000.
And I don't mind driving it, I've been driving it for a while, it's not that big, so, yeah.
Then
Come off your spot, right? Come on.
Anyway, the 2012, we have,
You're not on duty, are you?
You will be tomorrow.
Okay.
the 2012 Freightliner that we have has missed about a third of this winter. With breakdowns. Luckily we have a spare, so you can say, well, I'll just drive a spare and don't worry about it. The spare is a 6-wheeler. You can't put a load of sand on it and sand the road while you're plowing because the truck is too light, and it doesn't have any more traction. So you go out and plow, then you come back, drop your plow, load up with sand, and then go back for another couple hours and sand. So third of all our storms this year, we had pretty much double the time on that route to get that route done. So those are costs that aren't even included in the savings of this. It's random, and the thing wouldn't start. It had an electrical problem. We ended up finding the circuit board behind the computer had vibrated, and the studs had come unsoldered for a fuse. It took forever to figure it out. Knock on wood, it's been working for 2 weeks now. Now there's almost over. So that's where we're at. Also, if we decide right now as a group to buy that truck and replace that 2012 Freightliner, the new truck would not be at our shop for 1.5 to 2 years. That's how long it takes to get one built. So we've already pushing it out max. And now we want it to go another 1.5 to 2 years of maintenance. And maintenance and repairs are different. Maintenance, every truck takes maintenance, it's all the same. Tires, oil, foot filters, that's the same. It's the repairs that kill us. The things that aren't general maintenance. We have 2016, we just spent 16 grand on a radiator and the DEF system to get that ready for this winter. We just had spent another $300 last week for a heater hose. The heater hose blew out. You can't buy the heater hose, you have to buy the whole unit. You have to buy 2 heater hoses with the brackets, $290. So I'm not trying to paint a horror story, I'm just trying to let you know we are trying to max these out. Right now, my budget was cut again. I went over budget on maintenance this year. I kind of kept it low in the budget, hoping we're gonna replace the trucks, knowing that we're gonna have to keep them for another couple of years. At least that Freightliner. I'm a little nervous about the budget coming here, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna do what I do every year to make it work, but it's gonna be tight. So anyway, I hope that answered your question.
Well, thank you. I was kind of playing more the devil's advocate there, asking the questions, just for the people out there that haven't raised that question and wanted to have it answered. So thank you, Ray. And I also do appreciate everything you do with the department and everything, all the guys on the highway do. You do a stellar job. Especially, thank you.
Randy, do you have enough information from tonight for the next meeting and start preparation? Susan, you're involved a little bit. I don't know if Bethany and you were gonna be colluding a little bit here in there. That would be good.
I mean, ultimately, we need direction on which way to go with this. The replacement of our forestry truck, the 10-wheel dump truck, and the pickup truck. Are we borrowing, or are we looking to see the capital plan? I think the budget committee chair also is looking for some, what he asked.
Okay. Where are we at?
Kelly?
Not sure.
Quick question, or actually 2 questions. Have we looked at using the Vermont Municipal Loan Fund, which I believe the interest rate's 2%? Second question, what percent interest was used in the calculations? And then just a general comment. Years ago, we used to vote everything on the floor, including line items, and the voters really had a great deal of input into what they spent. That disappeared. When the capital plan is fully implemented, the money will be available and the voters probably will not have any input. So one more level of voter input will have disappeared. Whether or not that's the appropriate thing to do, it's arguable. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got another hand user?
Zoom user. Top left, Zoom user, got your hand up. You're muted.
Hey, sorry, it's Zach Van Valkenburg. I don't know why it says Zoom. I forgot how to fix that. My question is for the fire department budget item. Were any grants looked into, whether the USDA rural fire department grant or the FEMA AFG? I don't think SAFER grant is applicable to apparatus, but were either of the other two grants looked at to replace fire equipment?
Is the chief on? Can he answer that? I can't.
I see Josh Compo right there. Yeah. I can see that
We
one.
we currently don't meet the threshold for vehicle age to apply and get accepted for vehicle replacements. We do apply for the AFG every year for something. Recently received a grant for an exhaust removal system to prevent exposure to exhaust gases to firefighters at the station. This last year, we applied for a grant related to rescue equipment and rescue training. We don't believe that that will be awarded, but haven't received a notice that it's been denied either. So that's a grant we apply for every year. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't.
Okay, I'm coming back to the board. I'm gonna give my opinion. Hate to say it, but I mean, we cannot do a capital plan and equipment, because if everything passed, we'd really be in a mess. So it has to be one or the other. And my thought is, if we do the capital plan at the reduced level and it fails, then we come back with another special meeting to purchase equipment that we have to purchase. Just do a separate meeting with a couple separate articles, because we gotta buy equipment if it fails again.
And that's the frustrating part. It's like, we know what's in the best interest of the town. The capital plan will save the town money, but what's gonna pass? Is there a note to borrow? That costs us more money, and we need the equipment replaced. But because without the equipment replaced, we have these issues with the highway department, with the fire department. So I don't know the answer. I also don't know how. I mean, we had planned on communicating more, and we had some things happening down that took us away from communicating about the capital plan right before a town meeting. We do have brochures that were created, and they're sitting upstairs. We can do more public awareness that way. What is the community's input on communication? How can we get this communication to the people in the most effective way?
And one of the earlier meetings, Ray, you have talked about potentially, inviting people over to the table and stuff for this kind of more casual or open discussion. Has there been any ideas or move on that, or does that sound like a great idea? And it ties into what Lisa was saying about health parties, or
Right now, we're trying to put others.
Ray, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't really just focus on getting this budget through, figure out maybe through next year. But I haven't had a chance to talk to Brandon at all. He's been extremely swamped.
Yeah.
But I would love to have an open house and have people come over and have a casual visit, and maybe quarterly. Come over and have a cup of coffee, or
if you can get some
whatever,
bakes and cakes, I'm sure people.
Right. I mean, it's really hard to have a conversation like this.
Yeah.
Follow this protocol procedure,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
when we're out,
Yeah.
you just have to know that we can't make decisions. We can't do that in that setting, but it's a good way to communicate.
Sure, the best way.
But
I think that's a great idea. Have a couple of open houses at the fire department, at the highway department.
We're going to set a date, look at the calendar, set a date, and
I'm more than willing to do that.
I help us.
I absolutely refuse to post anything on Facebook. I'll tell you that right now.
That's understood.
If you want an email chain, send me an email, highway@weathersfield.org. And I can try to give you updates with an email. And I don't care if I have 50 people I gotta send it to, I can do that. I don't care. Whatever it takes.
But can that come through the town as well, not just directly from this department, you know, from the Weathersfield page as well?
Of course.
Obviously,
Yeah, I mean, we would post, like, if we had an open house, we would definitely post it on the Town of Weathersfield Facebook page, and then also our website. We recently started using Front Porch Forum more. So.
If you had an email list, you could put.
And that's what
the
we
select
did.
board, right, you can, the select board packet, every 2 weeks, I get the select board packet email to me. I didn't think it'd be a big deal, but 80 people on the email list, you could send and everybody would get that packet.
And that's currently in progress with our new website.
Okay,
hang on.
sign in.
So I just wanna suggest that we take what we've discussed and again, use Susan to help present this in a more compact way so that other folks can go to the website and see, okay, capital plan or articles, explanations. Because right now, just getting it through an email or otherwise, it's not publicly available. So the school board had done this little chart thing. They didn't pass either, but at least to have the explanation of if we go with the reduced capital plan, it's gonna cost X, Y, and Z. This is how much we're spending every year, this year on repairs. And this is how much it's gonna cost us extra if we go the loan route. But if we somehow find a concise, good way to communicate it on the website. And not just what the select board gets, cause I just got my first select board packet. And so I went through everything, but it's not, until you were speaking, Brandon, I now fully understand. But we gotta find a way to communicate it, and taking somebody who's an expert in the English stuff. Plus your stuff, plus Ray's stuff, we can get a little story that we've been talking about.
So I will say this,
What?
I'm sorry, I will say this, some towns have like a whole position that's dedicated to that, right?
Yeah, we don't have that.
We are like second by second by second by second by second all day. And I know that collectively it's great to want to do those things, but it's the amount of time that we have available to do those things and what we can allocate it to.
Well, again.
So it's not like we're trying not to, communicate, we create all these packets, we create plans. And we need that additional piece to get that communication out there.
No, it's catch 22, but I'm currently between opportunities. So I'm willing to give you, to volunteer to also help, and that maybe we can put our heads together. And get you some hints, because obviously you've got up to here in things to do right now, and you cannot be spending time on this.
I would very much appreciate it.
So, I'm just that.
I came in and talked to him today, I barely got 5 minutes with him, he was frantic, but what do you have to be a break?
Mr. Chair, real quick, sorry, 9:17.
Huh?
It's 9:17.
I understand.
We still got 6 items.
Well, you're one of the guys that keeps asking for more time to speak.
Well, might be a great opportunity to suggest, forming a committee on how to get more interaction with communities. Some volunteers on a committee to come up with ideas and brainstorm and come to the board and come to the manager and give those ideas.
See, we went through this in detail at town meeting. We had numerous public meetings about this that were warned in the newspaper of record. We posted them online. You put it in the annual report.
But if a committee of volunteers, we already had one said we should volunteer.
Oh, yeah,
to get together
it'd be great.
and come up with an idea on how to address this issue and make it better for everybody to communicate in town. Would that help?
I think so, I'm all in favor of it.
Okay.
And I'm sure, sorry, what's your name? Elise, that you're Elisa?
Yeah.
You're up. Please.
Elisa Van Domberg Scipio, I was just gonna say, if you're gonna have an open house at the firehouse, how about if you had a flip chart so you could actually keep track of all those ideas? So that they just don't get lost. Small.
I do have it down.
And I'm happy to stuff envelopes. They just volunteer to host parties to get the word out.
What's your name again?
Elisa Van Domberg Scipio.
What's your email address?
Elisa.ot@gmail.
It's because you can't spell your last name.
All right, so we've got quite a few people that are stepping up. We really appreciate that. Andrea's got her hand up. This is gonna be the last comment, and we are moving on.
That's what you said before.
I know. Andrea, go.
Thank you so much. I just want to say the quiet part out loud. I've heard a few people over these meetings dance around it, but when I have 3 annual report books in front of me, and we have a proposed, and salaries is a very touchy subject, but we have to look at the fact that when there is a budget established and you have a salary created, you have the projected, or you have the budgeted, then you have the projected salary, which is, there were raises, significant raises throughout the year. So then you have the next year's projected salary plus that 3%. And then throughout the year, there's additional increases there. And I truly think that we need to get a hold of this because that comes with benefits increase, taxes increase, and all of those things. And absolutely, the people that work for the town are absolutely vital and incredible, but there has to be a standard and limit. We can't just keep going hog wild. There has to be a policy that if this is what's budgeted, and you have annual increases, you have annual reviews. I've never worked at a job where I get 3 or 4 pay raises through the year, then get the 3% or whatever increase. And then next year, it's even on top of that. You understand what I'm saying, but we have to rein this in because that is a big impact on our budget. And I appreciate that, we can't compare it to all the other towns, all the other communities. Well, this town makes this town makes that. Okay, but Weathersfield, we don't have a tax base. We don't have businesses bringing in income. So we have to compare apples with apples on that. And that's just a big concern of mine. And I'm sorry if that makes everyone angry with me, but it's something that needs to be considered and discussed. Thank you.
Thank you. So direction from the board to the budget committee and town manager. Do you want to move forward with a plan to move forward with the capital plan? Or do you want to back off of that? Forrest has already answered and asked Kelly. Have you decided yet?
I don't know because, but he said if it doesn't pass, we can come back for another vote.
I think that was me, but
Yeah,
but
you
yes,
said, yeah.
you can. I mean, you're gonna have to do something.
What do we want? Yeah.
And that's gonna cost more money too.
Yeah, cost every time you have to do a new vote.
It does.
Yeah.
And it means sitting here and going through a lot of this again to establish that. So it is tough, but yeah.
What does everyone else
Joe,
think?
I'll let you think about it for a little bit longer. Joe.
I'm in the.
It's a conundrum, for sure. Put it lightly. There's 2 sides to this. Obviously, we know that we're gonna save interest by doing it ourselves. That's obvious, it's very clear. The people of the town said no, however. There's a lot of variables that are coming up that people are thinking or just kind of stuck on. There's been a lot of more good discussions that have come out of this. Communication is the big thing on it, but again, the people still said no. So at this point, I'm gonna say that we address this next year, knowing that it could still come back to us, and then we have to deal with it then anyways, and possibly do articles for stuff that's gonna come up. We might as well try and save a little bit of money on another special election.
Okay,
if it's
so
gonna come
that's
back.
your opinion. I gotta move along, so.
I would say stick with finding some version of the capital plan.
What did she say?
Stick with some version of the capital plan. This is direction for them to work on
Yeah.
at this point. And I think the biggest thing I've heard is, and it's consistent and correct, is I'm not hearing that there's a lot of a lack of support for it. It's a lack of understanding, and it's a message that needs to get out to make it work. And that's gonna fall on us, and we've got a bunch of people that are volunteering, to step up. And it ultimately comes down to what they're gonna say. I don't know what they're gonna say, and I don't really wanna come back here, but
I'm with Joe though. I just think people were so adamant at no when it came to all that money. I think it frightens them because of the assessment and everything that's going on. They don't fully understand the whole picture.
So now I'm staying with the board. I'm not even recognizing the town manager, so don't feel hurt.
I think I'm more with Joe on that for right now.
Okay.
And look at it next year.
Okay, and I'm on the capital plan. So that's.
We're outvoted anyway, Joe.
Hey, that's democracy right there for you.
Well.
It is what it is.
Yeah. That is it.
So is that Ray would like more clarification from the two dissent, am I recognized?
Yes.
No, spoke out of turn.
Time out. So like
From Joe and Kelly, does that mean don't even borrow, just continue to use the equipment that we're currently using and do repairs? Or are you guys looking to?
We were on the article, separate articles for the vehicles.
Okay, so you guys are to borrow money, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. So we got 2 to borrow, 3 to do capital.
And that's the general consensus. Moving forward with the plan. You asked for direction. I got you some direction.
We have split direction.
I can say, you got a choice of which cliff do you want to jump off?
I think in terms of the communications, I think that's not going to be a one-off. I think that's something that we get that conversation started, whether it's on front porch or the council or whatever. And that conversation continues, that discussion continues, because more and more people will start hearing about it, and then they want to throw their 2 cents in. So I think that's something we need to start as soon as possible, and not even calling for a specific action, but just calling for discussion and more information, and let's get it out there ASAP.
And we already, really quick, I'll give you, and we already are. We're seeing it in the room, we're seeing it online, that people are paying attention. There are many more people listening right now than they were prior to the town meeting.
Amen.
Yeah.
So they're even more
So one of the reasons why I was leaning towards the budget committee's recommendation to borrow is because we do need to replace this equipment. And if we reintroduce a 10-year capital plan and it fails, we're gonna be looking back here at the table, holding a special town meeting again. However, on the other side, if we don't do it, we know that when we put those special articles up, we're gonna be costing the taxpayers nearly $1 million more. So what's the responsible thing to do?
I just wanted to clarify, when we say putting the capital plan back on, despite everybody saying we shouldn't, you're talking about a reduced capital.
Capital.
A lot lower impact.
Correct.
I'm in favor of doing that as long as we have the narrative to go with it. And you already made a start with we can spend $150,000 on the capital plan or $220,000 to borrow. That is very clear. Those kinds of comparisons are what people have been asking for. I get drowned in the numbers. I'm not a numbers person. I can't read these. But when you say something as simple as when Mr. Todd asked the question, this versus this, well, we can borrow, we can put down $150,000 on the capital plan, or we can borrow $220,000 to buy these 3 pieces of equipment, or we can put down $75,000 on the fire truck towards the capital plan, Or we can borrow $65,000 to finance another. That's how simple it's got to be. That makes it very
And
clear.
then 2 years later, borrow again, you're still
Plus the
paying
added
first.
maintenance, when you borrow, we've got the cost of, not maintenance, wrong word, repairs. It needs to be that simple. Talk to me like I'm 5.
So we did this. We did do this when the capital plan was approved, and I showed the chart. I can't remember the exact numbers. I showed A, B, and C. Remember? And one chart was like up here at like 7 million, and the other one was like 5 million. So there was like a $2 million or more change. Like we have simplified this before, but we didn't have a lot of people paying attention at that point.
But I don't think that's true, but I don't think you had as direct a comparison as you just gave us today.
Yeah.
I think that is what really begins to make sense.
So we're obviously not voting on anything tonight.
No.
And it's coming back to another meeting and you've got some direction where to go.
I'm
We've got
putting
some people that are,
qualifiers on my vote.
and we've got some people that are, sounds like we got a little committee forming.
Well, the budget committee will meet again too with the same direction and, you know, we'll go from there.
And I saw some hands go up, but we gotta move on.
I'm done, I'm good.
Thanks, I appreciate it, August, I gotta move on at this point. That takes us to another, 5-minute topic, right?
May I suggest a time limit of 15 minutes? Good luck, so.
Weathersfield Police Department. Thank you, everyone, thank you, Susan.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
It is 9:30, that's why.
We do have to discuss it.
No, I was gonna be a smart line, I said 15 minutes, so good luck with that.
Did we not get anything in our packet regarding this topic?
I ran out of time.
Okay, guys, hey, everybody, it's getting late and we gotta move on, so if we can stop the conversations in the room. So that we can get focused on what we gotta do. The Weathersfield Police Department, Brandon, you taking this?
Yeah. All right, I'm trying to orient myself there.
Yeah. Right. You got 15 seconds. I think that's what Joe said.
Wow, that's a misquote.
Okay, so the town has successfully received the return of 3 police cruisers. I'm assuming everyone saw them in the parking lot. Yeah. We are in the process of reacquiring all of our equipment, or most of the high ticket items, like small things like pens and flashlights. Like we're not really too concerned with that. We can get it back. We'll get it. The good thing is when we did a loan to the sheriff's department for this equipment, we have a detailed inventory of every single thing that was transferred over to the sheriff's department with a photograph. So it's very detailed. We have all the serial numbers. So there's a lot. There's like 15 pages of stuff. So we're going through, checking off everything. At the sheriff's department has a copy, we have a copy, and we're reconciling that. We do anticipate the return of the majority of our equipment within the next couple of weeks. We're in conversations back and forth to do that. As you know, the police chief position was advertised on the Municipal Association, the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. I have appointed 11 people to serve on the police chief search panel. The town has received multiple applications for this position, and the panel is scheduled to convene tomorrow. They'll convene tomorrow evening, they'll review the police chief applications that we've received to date, and then they'll start to carry out their first round of interviews. So I am separated from the panel. The panel will complete the first round. They'll make recommendations to me to do a second round interview. I will complete the second round interview, and then we will, consistent with what we did for the fire chief, we'll make the appointment and the oath right here in the select board meeting. Pending successful completion of that process,
you know, we have Trevor Whipple from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. He's the law enforcement consultant. And he will be assisting me with the background check process. We will be doing a thorough background check process on the police chief, on the proposed police chief. The panel is composed primarily of individuals with active and or retired law enforcement experience. So the majority of the people on that panel, with the exception of a couple of residents at large, are either in Trevor Whipple is on that panel as well. Suzanne from Resources is going to do the scheduling of interviews and any administrative tasks that the panel requires. We do anticipate the full recruitment appointment process taking between 30 and 45 days. So applications reviewed today. We received a lot of applications, and they'll be reviewed tomorrow. So, with respect to dispatch services, the town has solicited proposals from multiple agencies. We're actively evaluating options and remain on track to secure dispatch services within the next several weeks to support operational readiness. Additionally, we are in the process of drafting a lease agreement for the former post office building located adjacent to the Montesquieu Regional Commission. The property owner has indicated that the building can be fully renovated and ready for occupancy in alignment with anticipated launch of the police department. This facility is well suited for a police department. We really don't have the building. It's this building here, owned by Matt Priestley from Elva Waste. This building has office space. So in the right-hand corner right here would be where the police chief's office is. And then you have offices here for officers. And then on the other side of the building, there's an interview room. So on this side here, there's a glass and interview room there. So we are looking to bring a proposal forward to the select board to see if this building would be something we can move forward with. The owner of the building is willing to work with us. And so we can have it fully outfitted. It wouldn't charge us a lot of money for the leasing for the rental of this space. Otherwise, we really don't have a building outside of the 1879 schoolhouse where that's the only room that we can think of where we could put a police department. That's a couple more things. Finally, the town continues to engage in discussions with the town of Reading and the town of Cavendish for regionalizing policing. I have had conversations over the past couple of weeks. There was a fast turnaround time and with our budgets going down and so forth. It brought uncertainty to the regionalization of the police department. In the chief advertisement, we did specify that the chief would assist in leading that regionalization process to determine whether it would be possible. And then we'd have meetings with Reading and Cavendish again. We both expressed interest in continuing to explore this. Our timeline was relatively quick to get 3 towns on board. And then again, with our budgets going down and everything, it put us in a position to where we couldn't regionalize at this point. We're currently ahead of schedule relative to our established timeline. And we'll continue to maintain uninterrupted law enforcement services throughout this transition period.
Joe, I just had a question about the Route 5 building. With renting that, will it have, through the person that owns it, a building maintenance agreement that's going to include any repairs necessary to the HVAC system, roof, parking, anything like that?
Owner is a construction company.
So they're going to be the ones responsible for the upkeep, all of that stuff, not us as a town, so we wouldn't have to budget for those things.
Yeah, no building, and this would be really, I mean, we could look at it as a permanent location, or we can look at it as a temporary location. I know that there are grants out there for facilities. We've identified places where we could potentially fill out a grant application or a groundsville application for some kind of property. But this reflects the lowest cost option that we have before us right now is the lease of this vacant property. And with the owners willingness to assist. He's very, motivated to do something like this for the town, and said he can send his construction crew there and have it up and ready to go and shoot see it, so. The only thing we need to do is just put a nice sign in the front of it that says Weathersfield Department.
Looks like a building that belongs over in a Western needs to have the nice little facade on it.
Oh, yeah. Sheriff's Department.
Yeah.
Aren't on duty.
Alamo. It's a small thing, but it does reflect everything that we really need. And it has that confidential interview room space, which is critical for policing. They need to have an interview room. And there's a place in there where we could have like a holding cell as well with the, I met over there with owner and we did the reconfigurate, like we talked through every step of like what would be done in there from a construction standpoint. So, and that would not be like, we wouldn't be coming up with the money for rebuilding costs.
So they would be getting it turnkey ready for us to be able to take over, making sure like looking at those windows, they look like storm windows almost. So you would want to have something a little bit more secure on there for a police department and stuff for their.
Yeah, he did.
Sorry, the building geek in me is taking over at this point.
I could say, that might be a little deep in the weeds for us tonight.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
It's okay.
That's all I have for the police department. I think everything's going very well. And I look forward to the police chief process and, oh, I missed one thing. You will not see the police cruisers here very long. They're being sent out to be stickered. So within the next week or so, you won't see them in the parking lot. Then when you see them again, they'll have stickers on them because they don't say Weathersfield Police Department right now. So,
Any questions or comments on Weathersfield Police for the town manager?
Were we going to have them stickered with the amount of Skettle Regional like was discussed, or to stick to Weathersfield?
We kind of missed that. We've had, yeah.
You touched on that as well. Just curious.
Any comments from anybody? Chris?
Any idea of what the lease agreement would be, the amount of money and the time?
That's what we're currently negotiating. He told me to give him a price. This is somebody that the town has worked with for a long time.
Right.
This is the person who handles all of our trash on the southeastern. Lease.
Yeah, I was just curious if you had a number, or
Yeah.
if anything was coming in yet.
He told us
So,
to tell us what we can afford. Tell him what.
if he was here tonight, you'd know nothing.
I said, is there a way we can charge you? I'm just kidding, Matt.
Location makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, man.
I love the idea and I'm very grateful for our community members. So generous, right?
Could you come up to the podium so the people online can see?
Yeah, my voice isn't very.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
I'm grateful for gentleman in the community that's very graciously given this opportunity. One concern I have is a lot of the activity is on the other side of town. So there's that piece. And it's a distance there, but also I thought originally we were hoping to be on the other side of town because if you're gonna partner with, or hopes of partnering with Reading and Cavendish, this is a long ways from both of those people, so if I was living in one of those towns, I would be concerned about that for sure.
And the problem is we're limited with what's
Current
available
holdings,
right now.
Yeah.
So we, like I was saying earlier, treat this as a temporary location and look at if we put a police department over there. Is Downers store an option? I don't know. There's identified areas where police departments can go for longer permanent solutions. But as of right now, this represents an option that could work now.
Agreed. Yeah, I think this is a short-term option,
Yeah.
but I would definitely love to see one, especially if we're gonna merge, but we all know that a lot of the problems are on that side of the town, or we're on that side of the town, they're cleaning up. But yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
one would hope that the police chief isn't just sitting in his office the whole time, and so he could be on the other.
Yeah.
But I also see your point of being a little more localized if you go into the regional plan, that might make a little more sense.
And I think one of the things we definitely will make clear to the candidates, the police chief candidates, is that folks got used to having patrolling around
Yeah.
and seeing cops everywhere, and that's what we expect, that's what folks want.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we've learned what we want.
yeah.
And we need to make sure that's what we give,
Especially with the size of that budget.
Town manager updates.
Yeah, I just have a couple of updates. The water line replacement project was brought up earlier, which was coincidental to have the project here. We can give an update on tonight. The main water line replacement project has been approved. The contractor has been selected and formally awarded the project. So this was after an extensive 2-year process of going through engineering and state approval, getting funds and so forth. I executed the contract last week with the contractor, the engineer, in the state of Vermont. So we held a meeting upstairs. We went through these plans. We met with the contractor. And this project will start on June 1st. And it is a very big project. It's a $2 million infrastructure investment. And it will replace over 3,000 feet of water main, 2,000 feet of water service lines. In addition, the project includes the installation of water meters for all users within the water district, which will improve system reliability. It'll also enhance operational efficiency and strengthen long-term financial sustainability. We have I know it just serves 200 residents, but it serves the school, it serves the town office, it serves a lot of, great study here. And there's been people that have wanted to hook onto the water system, but we can't extend the district given the current state of the main line, which is why we were pushing forward with this project, which we originally got to find funding for. And we went to Montpelier to the water board meeting, and we asked them to overturn that decision, and they ended up doing. So this project is funded through the Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund. And again, the project will start on June 1st. Any questions about that?
Who's the contractor?
Zelensky.
Where are they at?
They're out of Vermont. I can't remember exactly where, but I can give you that name. Oh, actually, I can probably put it here. I have the contracts. So Zelensky Excavating Corporation. Vernon, Vermont.
And total cost of the town for this was mostly grant money, wasn't it?
Yes, it's 50% of it is being paid for through a subsidy, and the other 50% through a 0% interest loan over amortized over 40 years.
Okay, so there's a 40% cost house.
50%.
It's not for the town, it's just for the people on the water district, not to the town.
Right. Okay.
And that's over.
This is not a municipal water system, this is a water district.
So it's over $1 million and subsidy.
Okay. Anything else? Update.
The town has received formal written complaints from citizens. All complaints have been formally acknowledged, and we are proceeding in accordance with the citizen formal complaint process. So I have.
No, you don't, you should have more. Mrs. Slade had some questions that were supposed to be answered by you tonight. Did I miss them?
I don't know why they were supposed to be answered tonight.
Oh.
She brought it up in the earlier in the comments.
Well, I thought you brought it up at the last meeting.
She
though.
did, yeah, she did, and I apologize for not having those answers tonight. But
Oh, okay.
we will get them, and they are executive session. question, and what was the other one?
The fire truck, the purchase of the fire truck, you're gonna see it on the ones.
And the other one was about advertising in the newspaper record, which I thought Raven slammed towards me when he mentioned it earlier, but the employment opportunities for that.
There was no slam towards you, Lisa. So we typically don't advertise positions in the newspaper. We advertise on the Municipal Association, Vermont League of Cities and Towns, and Indeed. If the select board wishes to advertise positions in the newspaper, we can. There's roughly $60 every time we do that, and it doesn't really get any applicants from my experience.
Future agenda items, anything anybody wants to add to future agenda? Okay.
The Perkinsville wastewater study update.
Yeah.
We're overdue for that.
Yep.
It's the wastewater feasibility study. It covers the Scotty and Perkinsville.
Oh, it's both, okay, okay. I'm not aware that we have, and I will admit that I forgot to check. But do we have a policy about having, and several people have mentioned concerns or questions about having members of the planning commission on the select board also sitting on both committees, since the planning board basically makes recommendations and so forth that the select board then votes on, whether, I know at one point that a couple of years ago that had come up and it was, I think town council had said, well, it's not really a conflict of interest because you were so short of manpower, we just had to take whoever was available. But is that, I know, I was talking to somebody from another town and they said, really, you have people who sit on both? That just blew their mind. So I'm not making any suggestions or recommendations here, I'm just simply saying, should we be checking that? And along the same line, and I apologize that I did not do my homework here. Is there any policy or anything about spouses being on the same committee or same board? Or, I mean, that's not something that really needs an answer tonight. I'm raising it just sort of more as a question. And the other thing that I would like to have on the agenda at some point is, I think, not that any of us are sitting home eating bonbons and twiddling our thumbs, but I had sort of assumed when I came on the select board that everybody on the select board also had outside responsibility as a select board member to participate in some other moving the agenda forward of, what we do. So I, for example, sure, I just raised my hand and said, sure, I'll do the transfer station. It's like, because I thought everybody else was gonna get a job too. And so I'm thinking, there are 4 other people here who, I mean, I know you guys are also on planning. It's not like, I know you don't sit home eating bonbons.
That's right.
Yeah, wouldn't we all? But I was thinking whether we should think in terms of people having, outside responsibilities that facilitate the work, because we all know everybody's shorthanded here. I mean, we're working with not quite a skeleton crew, but even when you're all busy out of your minds, and whether somebody, for example, whether one of the people on the board would be the person who is sort of the key connect to the outreach and communications and something group, or I know John Harrison is sort of the link between us and the school, but should we have somebody from the select board?
Yes.
Who's participating in the school and can, so again, that's Kelly. Oh, that's you?
That's me.
So, yeah, so those were my only thoughts and suggestions for future items.
Anybody else? Forrest?
I'd like an update on the 250 permit for the bow sand pit.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ray, do you want to give that update? Actually, we should probably do that.
It's future agenda.
That's right.
I'd just like to see us whittle this list down.
When I started, there was 18, it went to 19, we're down to 15.
Now
I think
we're
we're
back
back at 22 now.
I think what I would like to do in regards to the future agenda list is to look at that list. There's 5 of us here. We each get 3, that's a total of 15, prioritize it, and anything below that falls off for now.
I like that.
At least gets it, I mean, it doesn't mean it's gone. It will still keep it on a record, in a list, but at least get us narrowed down to something.
We're gonna drop several of these off in the next week or two, next couple of
That-
meetings, because they're all.
I'm so excited.
We'll have that update at the next meeting before it's on the OPEC and then wastewater feasibility study as well, right?
Thank you. Those are important.
Those would just be under general updates, although the engineer may want to come and actually do a full presentation of wastewater.
They did that, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah,
They did,
exactly.
It just vanished.
They just
What happened?
been off the charts.
Yeah,
They,
he did a presentation and then just kind of, it was supposed to be.
the next part was the 60% report, which I believe they have completed at this point. But I'll reach out to them and get an update.
Okay. Appointments.
You guys.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Can I do things?
Appointments. Thank you, Susan, for volunteering yourself. Yes, yeah, and no, I'm on appointments and then there's 3 other. Yeah. Conservation Commission, 2 vacancies, 4 years. Ellen Clattenburg.
I make a motion to appoint Ellen Clattenburg to seat 8 on Conservation Commission for a term of 4 years to expire March, what's the date today? March 23rd, 20. I can't do math.
23rd.
23rd, thank you, 2030.
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
You mentioned seat.
Any
8.
discussion?
Sorry, you mentioned seat 8. How many seats are there on that board?
9.
The hell of a forum.
They expected them to have like a 9.
Oh, no,
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, Ellen Clattenburg, seat 8, 4 years, expiration 3/23/30. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? I hear none, motion carries unanimous. Development Review Board. As mentioned in the minutes, I think that it has gotten corrected. I think I mentioned it in the minutes.
Yeah, that's been corrected.
Yeah, Mr. Chase went to the alternates.
Went to the seat 1, that was corrected, but 1A.
Yeah.
So we have, Beth Hutton, which is a reappointment, 1 vacancy, 2 years. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to appoint Beth Hutton to seat 4 on the Development Review Board for a 2-year term to expire 2/27/28.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor, any discussion? Hearing none, motion to appoint Beth Hutton to seat 4, 2-year expiration date 2/27/28. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries, it's unanimous.
Thank you, Beth.
Mount Scotty Regional Commission, 1 vacancy, 1-year term, Ray Stapleton. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to appoint Ray Stapleton to the Mount Scotty Regional Commission for a 1-year term to end March 23rd, 2027.
And there's no seat thing on that?
I don't have
No,
the
I think there's
roster.
only 1 person from one.
Yeah.
Okay, so motion's made second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of Ray Stapleton for the Mount Scotty Regional Commission, vacancy, 1-year term to expire 3/23/27, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, it's unanimous. Parks and Rec, vacancies, 1-year term. It doesn't say how many vacancies there are.
There's 8 right now.
There's 8
7.
vacancies?
Yeah, because the whole committee turned over.
Okay,
Can I do these as one motion?
yes, please.
I make a motion to appoint Ray Stapleton to seat 1, Justin Bennell to seat 3, and Julia Gumbart to seat 4 on the Parks and Recreation Commission for 1-year terms to end 3/10/27.
Second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to vote to appoint Ray Stapleton to seat 1, Justin Bennell to seat 3, Julie Dunbar to seat 4, 1-year appointments to the Parks and Rec Committee. Expiration date 3/10/27. All in favor of the motion,
I have
signify by saying
discussion.
aye. Oh, discussion, I'm sorry. Discussion.
It's been brought up a few years now that Parks and Rec had unlimited board or position or seats in there, and now it's 8, right?
That's 8 is all of that.
It was on the roster,
There were
yeah.
8 we're holding seats as of last year, so that's all I
I
have.
think we need to come up, or they need to come up with whoever the responsible party is for that, with an actual number on that, so they don't get themselves inadvertently into a lack of quorum or something like that, because obviously we want as many people on the board as possible to, contribute to it. But I don't want to see us end up in a situation where all of a sudden there's 20 people that are all voting members and only 5 show up for a meeting or 7 show up, then they don't have a quorum. I don't know.
It's not possible to have an unlimited membership and comply with the open meeting law.
Correct.
But that's not my fight tonight.
Right, and it's not on the discussion for this, we're doing the.
That's correct. So, and we're not exceeding the 8 at this point, right? I think, didn't we already appoint like Olivia?
Yeah, she's in seat 2, she got her own food back, so
Okay, and,
I just put them in order as they.
oh, okay. So yeah, we can have that discussion, but for tonight, we've got 3 appointments to make. Any other discussion?
That's all I have.
So motion on the floor to appoint Ray Stapleton seat 1, Justin Bennell seat 3, Julie Gumbart seat 4, 1 year to expire 3/10/27. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. It's unanimous. Solid Waste Management District rep vacancy 1 alternate, 1 and 1-year term. Brandon, I believe you're the alternate?
Yes. No, I'd like to remain the alternate, please.
So we call that what, seat 1A? We have seat 1A, is that how we do that?
I don't have a roster for this.
Because these are board appointments, correct?
How do you wanna do that for us?
I just make a motion to appoint Rika Henderson as the Solid Waste Management District Representative and Brandon Gulnick to be the Solid Waste Management District alternate for a term of 1 year to end 3/23/27.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Can I second?
Yes.
Oh, okay, second.
Yeah, it's just there. Anybody can second it. You can make the motion.
Like nobody else wants it, Rika. So. I do.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to appoint Brandon Gulnick as the alternate, 1 year to the Solid Waste Management District Rep, and Rika Henderson as the Solid Waste Management Rep, District Rep, 1 year to expire 3/23/27. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? And the motion carries, it's unanimous. Transportation Advisory Committee, 1 vacancy, 1-year term, Ray Stapleton. Do I hear the motion?
I make a motion to appoint Ray Stapleton as our representative to the Transportation Advisory Committee for a period of 1 year, term ending 3/23/27.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made to appoint Ray Stapleton, Transportation Advisory Committee, all by himself. That's quite the committee.
Just representative. Not the whole committee, you're just a representative.
It's the whole. It's the thing. Term is for 1 year to expire 3/23/27. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries, it's unanimous.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is our animal control officer to be reappointed every year? Cause I haven't seen her name.
That's a good question.
That's a good point, and I thought we would with that guy. It does require an annual appointment.
Okay, just checking.
So that's future agenda, please. Correct?
Just add another one.
Well, it's.
Just the next.
Look at the row.
Okay.
For campus only.
We're gonna need a scroll. The next agenda is a future agenda, just saying.
I'm getting tired.
I know, I get it. Any other business, highway, we have these, I need a motion to, we all, I think, do we all sign these? Signatures of selectmen, so yes, we do sign all of these. I need a motion to sign the certification of compliance for town road and bridge standards and network inventory. We wanna handle that one first?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Does the hearing with the town highway stuff that we just went through earlier affect anything on that right now or no?
It'll go in the next year.
That's the road and bridge standards for now.
Okay, perfect. That's my only question.
Okay, and I have the date here that we have to enter and that stuff. Okay. Any other debate on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. And then we have one more that goes along with this. It's a certificate of highway mileage, year ending February 10th, 2020. Ray Stapleton has filled this out.
Yeah.
I don't think there's.
Were there changes this year?
I don't believe so.
Yes, one, well, the one that the state put in pink, there's a little section of road between Upper Bow and Skyline that has been used for like 50 years. And it's still listed as a class 3 road, and there's no way we're gonna get to taking it off our list this year, so they just put it as does not meet standard.
Is that Highway 999 or whatever it is?
I don't know the number or off the top of my head.
I keep on seeing one pop up on my maps. I'm like,
It's
that's a
literally-
weird spot. So what?
Literally as long as, not even as long as this road, like,
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? Do you have any questions?
I do not.
Anybody? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the certificate of highway mileage year ending February 10th, 2026, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries, it's unanimous. So we do have these to sign. And
Business as well.
what's that?
I had any other business.
You do as well?
There's a real quick statement.
Okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
it better be.
I'm heading to Georgia from Friday to Wednesday. So. Just want to let everybody know.
He's just letting us know that he's taking a short vacation.
Leave your phone here.
He doesn't do that.
I know.
He's a pain in the hiney when he does that.
Can we make it a motion?
I tried
Um,
last time he went.
Today's the 23rd, right? Today
Yes.
is 03/23/2026. Whoops, that over there. Oh well. Let's see.
We expect a bushel of peaches when you come back.
Oh, not that early.
That's where I went to college for 10 years, so I'm excited. I haven't been back since I left.
Don't get peaches.
Natalia sent me.
What did you get?
I'm also staying. Order go the line.
Ray, I'm gonna need you to.
We're actually staying.
I filled in a date on here that might not be the right date.
Today's date. We're staying right on Necklace.
Yeah. Okay, I did it right. And then down here, we sign it on the same date, 03/23/2026. Okay, so I will pass, there's 3 sheets in there, but only. Right here. This. There's 3 sheets, but only the top 2 need signature. Anything else under any other business? Warrant. Who wants to read the warrant?
Make a motion to approve the warrant. Payroll. General fund, $15,564.14. Payroll operating expenses, $58,449.18. Highway, payroll, $12,358.07. Payroll, highway operating, expenses $23,729.62. Solid waste management payroll $2,429.85. Solid waste management operating expenses $14,952.27. Library payroll $2,398.55. Library operating expenses $377.69. ARPA funds spent $284, 130 Maple Street, $2,627 for a total of $2,911. Grand total payroll $32,750.61. Grand total of operating expenses $100,419.76.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the warrants. Any discussion on the warrants? I
Nothing.
like it.
They look good.
Okay, hearing no discussion on the warrants, all in favor of approving the warrants dated 3/23/26.
Aye.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries, it's unanimous. Motion to adjourn.
So, second.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh, I just wanna do
You better
that.
not be.
Don't.
If you oppose adjournment, you're buying pizza, that's
That's
a
warrants downstairs.
I got some red bear at home.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, joining
I
us.
will, I
Way past my bedtime.
I think we'll see these meetings shorten